Hey everyone, welcome to the Stormkeep. Today we're going to be discussing some Season 2 lists in the Gladitorium. Today I am joined by...
Hey guys, it's Paul here.
Tristan.
Hi y'all, this is David.
Hello, I'm Daniel. I'm from Bulgaria. I'm playing Stormcast for 2 years now, and I'm very fond of the race and everything it has. So, welcome on board.
Great to have you, Daniel. Happy to have you here. You've been working behind the scenes with us for a while, so it's good to actually have you here on the podcast with us.
Thank you, Paul.
Today we're actually joined by Tristan. I've known Tristan for a while. He's a player from our sort of local meta from back when I was in St. Louis. And he's, I believe you're in Queen City Sigmar, I believe. That's your gaming club, Tristan?
Yep, Springfield, Missouri.
All right. Why don't you go ahead and just tell us a little about yourself and how you got into Age of Sigmar and Stormcast?
Oh, gosh. Well, I played 40K way back when. My brother got me into it, and then we all jumped ship at the end of 5th edition 40K when they were releasing 6th. Jumped to Warma Hordes. I spent some time running the community as a press ganger. And then I took a very, very long break for the last 10 plus years. And my wife bought me the Dominion box set for Christmas year before last. And that's enough of the one little bump of crack to get you hooked.
For reference, when was 5th and 6th edition? When were the Tau added to 40K? Was that 5th edition?
Tau, they were there when I started, and that was in 5th edition. So it was 4th or 5th edition was when they got added. But that's been a while. One thing my wife didn't know is I already had the Ionus box because I planned on using him as a D&D mini. So it was just hiding in my craft room to be assembled and built at some point. So it was just at a convenient, happy accident that she also bought me more Stormcast to start me down.
Yeah, well, that's some good foreshadowing there because you ended up taking that Ionus model and doing very well with it in tournaments.
He actually sat in his box for the first 6 months or so. I sub-assembled him and didn't know what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to do something special with him for modeling and stuff, and he just sat there for about a year before I finally broke him out and finished painting him. And doing the conversion. Because he's sitting on top of not the Guardian Idol, but the Sigmar statue instead of his normal rubble. So he's,
sick.
Yeah, Murgonk can attest, he's taller than Krondys.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm sure people will want to see that, so shoot me a picture and I'll edit it into the video here.
Yeah.
Well, today we are going to be talking about Season 2 list building. We've already done a Season 2 list building video, so we're just doing it again because there's no rules. We can make whatever videos we want to. So, yeah, there you go. More lists. But seriously, though, why are we actually doing another list building video? It's because the point changes and the meta changes have been enough for us to start exploring new unit combinations and also, more excitingly, more archetypes. I feel like one of the problems with 4th edition that we've run into with Stormcast, playing it for so long, we've had so many archetypes that we could play. There were so many different ways to play Stormcast, and for the first year when we were playing indexes, there was pretty much only like 2 or 3 ways to play. Now it feels like it's opened up a lot more, and I'm not sure if they knew that this would happen from such minor changes to our points, but it has. Maybe it's just, that was always an option. It just wasn't efficient enough, and now we're exploring it. So it's pretty exciting. So we've got new concepts, things like using dragons without any supporting options whatsoever, like no Praetors, no Envoy of the Heavens, just having the dragon on the table, which is a crazy idea. We've got Shootcast coming back into the mix, and maybe even Liberator spam with some kind of scouting force action. There's a lot on the table now. But another big change has been the meta has been shifted. So they nerfed a lot of armies. I don't know. Did they really nerf them, though? Have you guys seen the win rates lately?
That was kind of scaring me.
It's still, like, they're all still 55 plus. They're not, 65% win rate, but they're all still very strong. And it feels like our matchups into them have gotten better, but the rest of the game still seems to be struggling into them. But it has definitely changed the way I build lists. Like when I was thinking about the previous battle scroll, and it was cities and Daughters of Cain and Cruel Boys. It's like, okay, well, I'm just not shooting any of these armies, right? They're all going to hide on obscuring, and there's not really anything I can do about that. But now Flesh Eater Courts and Seraphon are playing monsters, and Caradron are in the mix, and all of these armies either fly or have monsters, and there's a lot of good things that we can shoot at now. And it feels like shooting is back. I guess it never left, but it's back at the same time. So that's my spiel. I feel like list building has really improved with this battle scroll, and I'm really excited to show off the list that we have today.
I think you're right that shooting never really actually left, that everybody got away from it, but that's only because knee-jerk reaction to the whole obscuring nonsense. But then everybody thought it was safe. Well, everybody stopped bringing shooting, so people are feeling a lot more safe bringing their flying monsters and all of their other nonsense. And now I think shooting can really kind of catch people off guard because they're not all shifting to that shooting meta again.
Yeah.
And I know it's one of the things that I'm a little bit hesitant going into like a tournament this weekend.
What I like about the current state of things is that it feels like if shooting ever becomes really good again, and it always does, in the history of this game, there's never been a season where shooting wasn't one of, if not the best strategies, right? Like just bring as much shooting as feasible without losing objective control. But if that ever happens in this season, it feels like, oh, well, people are just going to go infantry cavalry into obscuring, and then that's it. They just win. Like, so it's good that there is that balancing knob, but maybe it's too extreme. Maybe just not being able to get shot is too much. Like the counter to it is just like 100%. There's nothing in between. It's not like a -1 hit or a -1 wound. It's just you just can't be shot. So it's kind of an extreme balancing point. So what have you guys been playing against in your local area? Like what armies are you worried about when you approach list building? What are the top 3 armies, let's say, that you're worried about?
Well, in my location, KO still have the top position. And I suppose that after that, the new changes are still not defining to the second to the 8th. So I'm still worried about only for the shooting. But the rest of that, out of that, I see Luminate. I see also OBR. OBR is going up, and another army is that will give a lot of problems. Also, like Ionus, and to me, those are the most concerning right now.
I feel like Lumineth, we do really well into them because they're kind of, for the most part, they're trying to play the same game Stormcast play, but we just do it better because we teleport so consistently.
I wish we had more Fire Slayer players in our meta. We have none.
You really wish you had more of the best army to play against?
Well, I want practice against the foot lists because I'm not worried about the Droth lists. The lists I played.
Yeah, the Droth lists are so easy for us. Long strikes delete one every single time they shoot. It's so simple.
But yeah, that's the problem is I don't get practice against the people that play the foot lists. So I was like, I wish I could practice against that.
It's rough. The having obscuring anywhere on the board with their once per game artifact is huge. Strike first negates a lot of our strike first stuff, and there's no way to ignore it with Ruination Chamber because it doesn't actually target anything. And we're not like a grinding army usually, so we're charging into Fire Slayers and they're getting those strike bursts off on the right turn. Like a really well piloted Fire Slayer infantry list is maybe our worst matchup right now. They're also just huge effective health. So if you're bringing stuff like low volume stuff like prosecutors and another low volume like long strikes, like if that's your list, then you're going to really struggle into Fire Slayers. It's like, oh, they just have like 160 health on the board. Like, okay, good luck. It's so much.
Actually, the Fire Slayer list I'm tinkering around with for me to start building my pile of shame is about 180 effective health, or just not even it's not even effective health, just 180 flat health.
Yep.
It's stupid.
Yeah, it's silly. And then and just the way they avoid taking damage too with all their tricks, it's a very strong army. Which is good. I'm glad they're finally good right before they get squatted.
Don't say that. I haven't even assembled most of them.
Well, don't buy Volkite Berserkers. Yeah.
Well, I was going to say my top 3 are definitely KO. In my meta, KO. Gits are in a weird place depending on who's piloting them. It's hit or miss, but that's kind of the way it is with most of them. That and I don't know, the new Night Haunt seems a little bit scary.
Well, let me ask you a open question here. How do you guys feel about the new Gits Chariot thing? Is it really as good as it seems?
Yes, it's dumb. Yeah. And reinforcing them or having 2 of them once you have it reinforced. Right? Is it 2 base?
2 base, 4 reinforced.
Yeah. Reinforced 4, yeah. And so my buddy Alex, he played him against me the first time, and then he asked me, do I run those or the wolves? Because he needed some mobility for tactics and stuff. And it's wholeheartedly the chariots, even though I know I'm going to end up pairing into him this weekend, and I'm going to kick myself. But they're dumb. For as cheap as they are, the damage, their speed, their mobility, and their tricks is just stupid.
Yeah. It's another classic example of Games Workshop designing a movement phase or teleport in the enemy turn, and it being just wildly too good. And it'll get changed to 2d6.
Make our chariot do that stuff.
If our chariot came in 2s and could be reinforced, I'd play it. That would be a good unit.
I don't even care about it coming in 2s. Leave it at 10 health. Leave all of the stats, everything. Give us the impacts and the movement shenanigans. I don't want to have to spend an extra CP every turn to do the power through thing so I can get the extra mortal damage.
Yeah.
The thing with the chariot for Gits, it's an army that either the person goes 1-4 or 4-1. Like there's like no in between. Either you know how to play it, or you're just like you try to internet chase and you just get tabled.
Do Gits players want to play a movement trick army like Khorne?
No.
Like,
every time I play Gits, they just want to play like these fluffy, stupid lists.
Yeah, they want trogs and squigs and all kinds of gross, smelly things on the table, and they want to swing at you as best they can and have a good time while doing it. I don't think they want to be like a 180 IQ movement trick army.
Well, yeah, but then you get the good players that know that if I just bring 12 rock guts, trug, and then the movement shenanigans, you have all that meat that can just sit there and tank the entire other 2,000 points, while you've got 300 points out here scoring all your victory points for you,
and denying your opponent. More importantly,
and so it's against a good Gits player. They've got all the right tricks right now to do some good stuff. It's just there's not a lot of really good Gits players. That and they're just so swingy.
It feels like Gits are not like the meta, right? Remember the beginning of the index? The Gits were a very meta chased army, and it doesn't feel like that anymore.
Yeah, Gits has a good balance between all their lines. I mean, they have a lot of movement. They have quite bunch units, and also they have good tricks to buff their units. So I think in good hands, as every army. But right now, Gits will give us a lot of problems. So, in my perspective, I think I see on top 5 to Gits probably in this and coming months.
I think their movement tricks affect other armies a lot more than Stormcast because we take very good positions very easily because we have a combination of reserves, teleports, and extremely fast units and flying units and teleporting the enemy turn. Like we can take the positions we want to take, and it's not so easy to exploit that positioning as compared to other armies. Like if you're just a move forward army with no reserves or teleports, you can really get blocked out by those chariots and have to waste a lot of time cutting through them. Whereas we just teleport over them and, whatever. Sure. Not an issue. Well, it's not that it's not an issue. It's less of an issue. It is definitely an issue, but it's not a major one for us.
Yeah.
They just did so much stuff that's squirrely. It's hard to pin them down.
Yeah.
Like the Dankhold just moving a flat 6 and getting into combat from anywhere. It's just kind of really silly. They can just kind of mow through your front lines, get around all of your stuff with their extra movement after a charge. Don't even have to charge. They can just auto run. So they've got an 18-inch threat, 19-inch threat with the 3-inch combat.
Yep.
They can just be right there with a heck of a monster.
Well, thankfully, they're weak to shooting. That's one of the saving graces.
Yes, it is.
And the third one you mentioned was Night Haunt. I have not experienced a scary Night Haunt list. The only thing that really annoys me with that army is the Blade Guys just stopping charges unless you roll a 7+. I hate that mechanic. If you're not a shooting army, that's got to be the worst feeling in the world, where you're just like, oh, I just can't charge you, I guess, because I re-rolled a 6 into a 5, and that's it. The game's over. Cool. So what else are Night Haunt doing besides that? Because I can't really see much. Pyregeist spam, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, 40 Pyregeists.
Yeah. Pyregeist spam, and you don't get to charge. And that affects me because I'm not running a heavy shooting list. So that's one of the things that I'm a little bit scary, and some of the other stuff that I've read, and that Black Coach is, well, in my game against Mergonk, it took basically my entire army to take the thing off.
Yeah, the Black Coach it's pretty good. Although it's kind of weaker now, I guess, with the 5-up, 6-up.
Oh no, it's not a 3-up ethereal anymore. I'll play the tiniest violin for you.
Ethereal. Those are 4-up ethereals are pretty good too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty good.
All right, so let's talk about Stormcast lists. All right, so our first list up here is called Karazai is not cavalry keyword. And the reason for that is because this is a double cavalry list, which is a particular archetype that has 2 beefy, fast units that like to play one side of the table. Each, you'll usually split these units up, and then they have the threat range in order to collapse back into the middle when needed. But the idea is that these 2 cavalry units are kind of like running the whole show. That's why we call it the double cavalry, because they're essential units. And for a while, we wanted to use Karazai, but he was just so expensive, and without the support units, he dies pretty quickly. At least he used to die pretty quickly, right? Even though he does have the -1 attack, without any additional buffs, he's just 20 health on a 3-up save. And we had this great playstyle all the way from 3rd edition where he would sit in the middle of the board with Praetors and -1 hit effects, sometimes -1 wound effects if you're a Frostfire Phoenix enjoyer. Big Karazai was a lot of fun back in 3rd edition. But that style just doesn't work right now for a number of reasons. Mainly, he still dies even with all that stuff. Like, if people pour their damage into him, they kill him, and then all you're left with is a bunch of supporting units and maybe 1 or 2 hammers. And that's not the greatest list. Another issue that Karazai style has right now is everything's too spread out. There are 6 objectives that are, 45 inches across diagonally, and Karazai being only 12-inch move, well, he can be reasonably playing 2 objectives, but he can't play all 3. And when you're putting all your eggs in the Karazai basket, you're kind of limited in where you can go. So strategically, that style doesn't really work out very well. But we have been experimenting with using him effectively as a cavalry unit, because if you look at the stats, he's 20 health on a 3-up save, same as a unit of reinforced concussors. He doesn't have the crit mortals of concussors, but he has Ren 2 and anti-infantry, so he's going to be chopping through armor pretty well. And he scales fully with Vigilors, unlike concussors who require all that attack in order to get the most out of their mounts. He can be on 2s and 2s, unlike the rest of our cavalry, which is great. He also has a excellent, I will say, -1 attack debuff. When he gets charged by 1 unit, and he gives that 1 unit -1 attack, it usually is enough for him to survive. And when he takes damage, he gets stronger. Unlike every other monster in the game, well, almost, he does get stronger, which actually does add up. So if you just strip him down to his bare bones and just have Karazai on one side of the table, away from most of the damage in your enemy army, like you can take on 1 threat at a time, usually, and feel pretty good about that. That's the style we're discussing today. So with that prelude out of the way, what's in the list? Well, we've got Karazai, and we're going to take advantage of his ability to bring any Stormcast unit. And in this case, we're going to bring Starstrike Javelin Paladors. And the reason we want to bring these 2 units is because Karazai is fast, but he's only 12-inch move. And more importantly, his big base really prevents him from getting where you want him to be. So we want to pair him with something like Vanguard Paladors, who can move 20 inches and then charge, or Prosecutors, which are Not as fast as Vanguard Paladors, but the ability to have 3d6 charges lets them go anywhere. In this particular list, I want more health on my second cavalry unit. I want this unit to be able to take hits and still keep chugging along. So we're going with the Starstrike Javelins. We've also included a small unit of Dracothian Guard Tempestors, just because of their ability to shut off all-out defense. The points ended up working out so that we had this weird value of around 180 points left over. So we thought, okay, let's try the 2 Dracothian Guard Tempestors and see how they work out. In my experience, they usually get the denial of all-out defense off, but not always. We're also bringing a Knight Arcanum so that we can cast a Life Swarm to heal Karazai, and we can cast the 2 other good spells in the Primal Energy, which are the Jaws and the Burning Head. All 3 of those spells are really good. And it feels good when you have a good target for the Primal Energy, the Life Swarm as well. Bringing in some Vigilors to give everything in the list +1 hit. Vigilors are necessary whenever you play Karazai or Javelin, so that's some natural synergy. We've got a Knight Relictor here, very standard for Stormcast. He's got the Beacon of Azir and Legendary Tenacity. He's going to be performing some recycling. Sometimes it's going to be on Karazai, sometimes it's going to be on the Javelins. If you don't know what recycling is, I'm going to put it up on screen now for you to click that link and get caught up on one of the hottest tactics Stormcast can do. And then we've got a pair of Knight Judicators who just act as shooting damage support. Sometimes they're screened, sometimes you put them out on an objective early, and then they die, but you retain the rest of your damage. So that's the list. It is very straightforward to play in terms of mechanics. The only complexity really comes from not overextending with Karazai and making sure you keep stuff in range for your Knight Relictor. I think in terms of swaps, the Tempestors here are kind of a free one. I'm not really sure what the Tempestors should be, but just the point values worked out. So that's the list. And what do you guys think?
What's the points on the Tempestors now?
170. Yeah, it's a weird point value. There's not really anything we could slot in.
Yeah, to me, right now, the couple of Tempestors and Javs are one of the best pickups that we could have. They have a powerful synergy because Tempestors are usually supporting to Javs and are one of the few units that could follow to the speed of the Javelins. So supporting with shooting, avoiding also the AOD for the unit that is being charged by Javs is really good. So, and if we are considering that also we have Vigilors to add +1 to hit from the Javelins, I suppose that it feels really good. So, Karazai, this is the only question that I have for re-ranked, just to know exactly how he is placing or what is the core idea of the Karazai and the rest of the units. Questors, for sure, is one unit that could be working by themselves. They could be moving along of the board, but my question is more Karazai.
Yeah, Tempestors and Javelins don't have any direct synergy because Javelins do most of their damage outside of the combat phase, and Tempestors only deny all that defense in the combat phase. But people generally aren't spending 3 command points to all out defense against Javelins anyway. So it's not really so much synergy for them, but for Karazai and the Questors, it is pretty big to shut off all out defense. David, you used to play a lot of big Karazai. Have you tried him without any of the support units yet?
I have not, because I've been practicing the 12 Paladors.
We'll get to that one soon.
But I did play him a little bit back when we had special assignment stuff in the first year, and the bodyguard thing was kind of nuts. But I think now, since he's getting cheap enough, yeah, I would just, because the more I was thinking about it, I'm like, we play 4 Dracoths, which is 20 health.
Yep.
Right? So, like, you could just have Karazai now. It does the exact same thing. So, I think I would like him down a little bit more. That's just being greedy. But I do think there's some play there now. He's also, like, really annoying. So if you don't kill him and you leave him at 10 health, like, he's going to hit you back really hard. And it's going to hurt.
Yeah, and unlike every other Stormcast unit, he loses no damage as he takes damage. That's a problem Stormcast have, is the reason...
He gains it.
Yeah, he gains damage.
Yeah.
But he, on his own, with 1 health left, will win the game. Right? Every other unit in our army is like, oh, I'm down to one quester or one prosecutor, and yet the Tornus rallying is great for sure. But most units don't have that kind of recuperation. Karazai doesn't care. It's like 1 health, that's all I need. I'm still on the board, I'm still running things. I'm still a 12-inch flying move, and I've gotten stronger. So I kind of like that as like an end game condition where if your opponent doesn't kill Karazai, they will lose the game. But you can make it very, very expensive for them to do so.
Yeah, he's the epitome of the only health that matters is the last one.
Yeah, he's a black deck in Magic, just turning all that health into a resource.
Well, last season I played him for around 10 games with Vigilors for bodyguard, not with Ward, and it was quite well. And if you position him well, he can be very oppressive. The high demand for Karazai is Vigilors. +1 to hit is extremely important from my experience because he can whiff, and that's very harsh. If the 500 points cannot do the damage, it's very bad. If he does the damage, it's amazing. I've been lifting a lot because it's one of the only high-ranked units in our roster. So I'm using it like that. Now I'm using it as high-ranked oppressive monster that can power through. And it's good.
Yeah, I agree. He doesn't really feel like a big dragon anymore. He just feels like a damage unit that happens to have a -1 attack buff. And the fact that Vigilors put him on 2s, and they don't do that for a lot of our other hammers, right? Like it's a lot of our weapons are companion weapons and they don't benefit from Vigilors. So just having that +1 hit is just so good on this guy. He feels really good in this role.
Yes, I've been killing for example, I've been killing 7 Cavaliers, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And if you played good and you manage to acquire between 5 and 9 wounds intentionally, that can be done. He becomes super scary because you can play with the power through and rally between things, and you can go in, take some damage, do a lot of massive damage, and then go back, rally him, and it's very good, very good. The rank 2, sometimes rank 3 is really important. That's why I'm testing him now mostly. And if we put Tempestors in, 2 Tempestors for a bit expensive with him, depends on the list. But if you put 2 Tempestors, he can go on a lot of rank.
Yeah, effectively red 4, which is nuts.
On reverse infantry, yes. So all the scary stuff that are 3 armor are not that scary anymore. Like a cavalry, a lot of people don't respect him, so often they deploy 18 from him. So you can basically go punish, power through back. You can teleport him with Beacon of Azir or Lego roll, depends on how you get points. And it's super safe. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you can do damage turn 1 unpunished.
Yeah, he is a good recycle target. Yeah, that's one of the things I like about having 5 drops is you will see your opponent's entire deployment and you'll say, oh, that's the thing you deployed on the line and we're 18 inches apart. Okay, I'm going to put Karazai right across from that thing. And if you make me go first, Karazai is charging you turn 1. Yes. You're not stopping it. And if you don't make me go first, and if you try to charge Karazai first, okay, well, I have Beacon of Azir. So he's just going to get teleported to the other side of the board. There's no risk involved when you have the Beacon of Azir with him.
No, it's very safe to do a rollable 16 charge and do the damage, the buff, and go out. Especially if you go into something with more models, like you can the rampage is good. Some cavalry, some infantry. It's always good to go in and safe. And he's kind of good now on points because in comparison for his brother, he went 20 points up, but primal energy is 20 and morbid is 30. So it's effectively the same cost, no?
Yeah, well, I have some thoughts on Krondys, and we'll talk about them soon.
Yeah.
Well, the logical question to ask from there is, instead of running Karazai and an Arcanum, what if we used Krondys instead? Exact same concept for a list, but we swap out Karazai for Krondys, we drop the Arcanum, and that gives us the points needed to run Questor Soulsworn instead of those Tempestors. And we can also run Thunderhead Host and feel good about it, because now we have 2 units of Questor Soulsworn to benefit from it. And honestly, this list does not look bad. I know it's crazy to think Krondys with no support is worthwhile. I mean, that's how we used them in indexes, and a lot of the same units are still in here. We've got Javelins, we've got Vigilors, we've got Judicators basically playing like long strikes, and Krondys is in there. I think this could work. I really do. And if you're able to ever get him a 5-up board, like let's say your Judicator dies and then you give Krondys a 5-up board, that's like having Praetors, you know? And your Relictor will probably be sticking with Krondys anyway. I don't know. I think there's some gas in this concept. I don't think it'll be the best list. Maybe the Karazai version's better. Maybe the Karazai version just needs to drop wizards altogether. But I think there's definitely something here.
I have an issue with the Thunderhead Host on this one, because you're not getting any... Realistically, how much are you going to have your Soulsworn close enough to the Paladors, which is the only triggering unit, right? Am I seeing that right?
Yep, that's right.
Paladors,
it's the only one.
Yeah. That'd be my only concern with it.
It's, like every sub-faction, we're not trying to get that much value out of it. Minimum amount of value is fine.
Right, that's fair.
Like in the previous list, we had just Questor Soulsworn, 1 unit benefiting from Thunderhead Host. There's not really a good sub-faction we could pick in that list, so best of a bad situation.
Yeah.
Vanguard Wing teleport on Javelins is just not very useful.
No, because you don't want them teleporting anyway. If they could teleport out of combat, then it would be worth the dice roll.
Yeah, definitely. But they can always retreat and charge, so why bother? All right, let's move on from the double cavalry stuff, and let's go talk about some recycling lists. So first up, we've got 12 Javs from David. And now this is very similar to your obscuring everywhere. So anyways, I just started blasting list. So from our last video. So run us through the changes you've made since then, why you've made them, and how you think this list is going to shape up. I'm assuming this is what you're taking to Worlds, right?
Yeah, this is going to be my world's list.
Yeah, so run us through it. I also want to hear your thoughts on the tactic choices. We haven't really talked about that yet.
Yeah, so I've been playing this list a lot, probably for a year at this point. Just variations. So starting off with the tactics, I really do like Masters and Red lists. I know usually Restless is the best, but I would swap that with Intercept, and if I'm usually taking the double if I can, so getting the last 5 on Restless doesn't matter to me, because I probably would lose the last 5 if I was doubling with Intercept anyway. I have been playing this list mainly with the Wizard, but this last local that I tried it with just the Priest, and I like it way more with the Priest. The reason is the Arcanum doesn't bring enough and do enough for me to justify having to have a Wizard. So, but the Priest does, and the reason for that is being able to recycle Paladors or Long Strikes is really, really good. I had a situation where I pretty much picked up 30 Wardens and I think it was 5 Blade Lords for free. So I powered through one Palador unit. I was able to stay far enough away with my Long Strikes to shoot, and then in his turn walk back into obscuring, so I couldn't be shot by Sentinels. And then my last unit that had to go deep to get that other block, my Relictor just zapped them back into obscuring. So I like the Priest a lot more version. Be able to protect, like, the biggest problem I've always had with the list is I usually have to send 1 unit of Paladors deep that can't power through, and they're always at risk of getting hit. And now I have a choice of either saving them or saving my Long Strikes. Sometimes with terrain, though, you could just redeploy the Long Strikes, and they're usually fine because they're a long edge range, where Javelins have to get close. They have to make that charge into the enemy lines to shoot and stuff. So I like the priest version more now, but the wizard, you can still always run a wizard, but there's not really too much tactics here. Like you're running and gunning. Like there's no real tricks. It's just you're shoving 12 Paladors down somebody's throat and hoping you come up on top.
Yeah, Paladors are the kind of unit where if you don't deploy very carefully around terrain, especially obstacle terrain that enemies can't finish a move on, if you can't take advantage of the fact that Paladors don't fly, you're going to have a rough time because they just go so deep into your lines, which it's crazy.
And now with the meta, especially like monsters coming back, kinda Droths, Terrorgeists, Hellsmiths. I keep seeing people saying Uruk is like a must take.
Oh yeah,
right.
Yep.
So all these big pieces that can hide obscuring, like the Paladors are like, I'll shoot those things all day.
Yeah.
Like you can't. If you cannot hide from Paladors, it's game over.
Have you done a lot of long strike recycling yet?
I have. If I think my Paladors could, it's pretty much like it kind of depends which one I know I could probably keep more safe. That's like completely safe. It's, but recycling long strikes is very good. I used to hate having to always trade my long strikes to get a juicy target because usually people, like, if you play against someone who's like pretty skilled, they're not just going to give you a good monster hero or something for free, right? It's like, well, if this dies, you're going to give me your long strikes.
Yeah.
Right. And this kind of like negates that. Now they have to play differently if they don't, assuming that they know what you're trying to do. Well, usually a lot of people forget that you could counter translocate. But yeah, this list has been doing me well. Excited to take it to Worlds and see how it does there. Also, AOS not having 40k terrain maps is also very big. I've played on a lot of maps where I've like had to play on like 2 forests and like 4 pillars, and I'm like, well, I guess we're gonna see how this goes. So it is also very, so it depends on your local meta and your GTs that you go to. Most AOS GTs don't have a ton of obscuring options, so I do take advantage of that too.
Yeah, my experience has been that the bigger the event is in terms of like player count, the worse the terrain gets because they just can't have enough terrain of a certain quality to have all the tables be the same. Whereas 40k is like they just print that stuff out like crazy. Like it's so standardized now. AOS is still thankfully a bit more beautiful as soul draining as it can be to look at some MDF terrain sometimes. People still tend to put more effort into AOS terrain. Like we want it to actually look good. 40k players are less concerned with that. They want it to play good more than they want it to look good, right? So we just have a slightly different focus. But yeah, when it's a shooting gallery, lists like this just clean up.
They are back in stock too, people. I checked the website. They are back in stock. So you don't have to go to eBay for $100 Paladors anymore.
So you're mainly recycling the Paladors with the Relictor?
Mainly, so a lot of my games, I thought at first in just theory crafting that I would recycle the long strikes mostly. But it turns out usually the thing I'm wanting to recycle even more is the Paladors because they have to go so deep to hit things that I want.
Do you run into trouble with getting them wholly within 12 inches of the Relictor whenever you drop the Relictor down to do the counter translocate or do the translocate on the next turn? Are you ever running into that? Because they have such a huge footprint if you're not running like 2 ranks. It's kind of, I always run into problems when I was trying the whole Knight Relictor beacon thing, trying to keep everything within 12 inches when you can only drop 9 inches away.
So I usually figure out where the first unit of Paladors I want to power through, be my power through target, and then that's where my second, and then my relics will drop on the second unit that has to go deep. I usually don't have too much of a problem. I'll be honest, I really abuse the 3-inch shooting and the 3-inch fight range, so I could keep that 12-inch bubble.
Cool.
You just have to, I think it's just really, you have to be very conscious of it. That's about it.
Would you ever swap the Knight Relictor back for an Arcanum, or are you just done with Wizards?
So I guess I got like a lead onto that. So Iridan's 260. If Iridan drops to 240 in December, I would swap the Quiller and Ether Wings for Iridan, and the Router for the Arcanum.
Interesting. You don't value the ward reduction that much.
I think it's good, but I think I would rather have the combo of a Priest and Wizard it a little bit more than a ward reduction at that point. I think if I had to choose, it'd be the ward reduction all day.
Okay, so the Aquilor here, just tactics, right? That's the only tactics, scoring, blocking, zoning, that kind of thing. He's not a very useful piece.
Pretty much, it's a nice. It's been honestly a nice intercept recovery piece. I'm like, well, it's my Aquilor is going to hold one of the treasures, and it's just going to teleport around the board.
Yeah, good luck catching it. Even if you do, I don't care. It's useless. I love having useless stuff. We call it useless, but it's like, it's not. It's always the most useful thing in your list. Like back when Gryph-hounds were a separate unit from the Knight Judicator, the Gryph-hounds were the best unit in my army because I don't care what they did. They could die, they could go sit in a corner, they could steal objectives. Like, oh man, I love useless units.
It has sometimes scored me restless, so there's how there's some maps where there's like one objective on either deployment, so you really just need to get that one objective. Well, I've had opponents forget and move off of it, and then I just teleported my Aquilor on it to get the 5 points.
It's crazy that people forget you can teleport. That's all Stormcast too.
The two javelins is very impressive list. Can punish a lot of players that are not prepared for it. And it's hard to prepare for it. Even people that successfully countercast to drop a predatory manifestation to zone you out, cannot zone you exactly well. The obscuring rules now seems against it. It's not true. There are some maps. I experienced one map and kind of a half that I had issues, real issues. But beyond that, obscuring is not a thing. I need to so much think about. There's always important targets to shoot. There's always people need to move somewhere. The important thing now is that you need to go in with the double power doors and power to one for sure. You cannot keep both or and raptors could be tagged, so you cannot keep three units with one rule, with the new rule that used in the Vanguard Chamber in the hero phase. So you need to be very careful not to get stuck with them. That's the thing. It's a list that fishes for double turn, but if you see a bad deployment, you can go in first. My win rate is like 95% with going first with it. Around 80 is going second for double turns. So it's very punishing, at least for the opponent, if they deploy bad.
You would only go first if you know you have a good chance of winning.
Yes. If you see bad deployment, if you see people disrespecting or doesn't know exactly how much damage or what you can do. But it happens.
Yeah, that's one of the really nice things about javelins is they punish deployment mistakes like no other unit in our book.
Exactly. And one of the power doors can open a space for the second power door with a wonk charge. By wonk, I mean 7. I don't mean 12. To get in and tag your big centerpiece like Italian cities, or you can sometimes tag like, I don't know, whatever important thing they have and shoot it and then combat it. And the damage pausing and rolls very fast. So you can go where you're not desired very hard and fast because of the shooting and the charge shooting and opening space of removing models. The other good stuff is because I played previous season with Mage, it didn't win me games almost, except two memorable games. So you can go for minus wards, which is really important. It helps with the damage, and translocate with of raptors. Rarely of javelins. More often, you position raptors properly and get them out of harm.
Next up, we have this list run by Corbs on the Stormkeep podcast gang. Unfortunately, Corbs couldn't make it to recording. He's on a business trip right now, so we're just going to rip his list apart and make fun of him while he's not here. So he is running a list with Tornus the Redeemed, reinforced javelins, reinforced long strikes, reinforced prosecutors, Aether Wings, and then he has a Lord Veritant with Vigilors. He actually does not have 10 points to spare in order to upgrade the Lord Veritant to a Knight Relictor, because he's also bringing the Skyport Profiteers, this regiment of renown that's becoming quite renowned in the metagame. For those unfamiliar with what it does, it allows you to teleport any infantry unit for the cost of just 1 command point. Any infantry unit up to 10 models, I should clarify. It also includes 2 little gunner units that are disposable screens that have 18-inch guns. And, oh yeah, they just shut off wards entirely. They just disable wards, which is a cool thing for so many armies to have access to. So this is a very bog standard Stormcast triple threat kind of list. You know, it's got a cheap take-all hero. It's got a reinforced cavalry unit, a reinforced infantry unit, reinforced shooting unit. And then it's got like these little screens and dangle bros that are running the show. And despite having no synergy with Tornus, again, I love having useless units. So Tornus not having anything to do could be strategically useful. He can take objectives and then die, and you're not too upset about it. He can hold treasures and then fly away. He can do all sorts of these little tasks. Obviously, the star of the show that people will want to talk about is the Profiteers. So what kind of shenanigans can we do here? Well, one of the things we do with prosecutors very often is we will deploy them near the portal. And that has certain costs and benefits, right? When you're near the portal, you can't really get away too far from it because you always want the threat of being able to move back into the portal and then teleport somewhere else and then do the 3d6 charge. Well, with this regiment, that's like a mobile portal, effectively. As long as you keep the code right near enough the prosecutors, you can just effectively portal them anywhere, all for the cost of 1 command point. And that threat is very, very interesting. The ability to also shut off wards from 18 inches away without having to risk losing a hero like the Knight Relictor, which is your priest, it can be very useful if you're running like, you know, you're dropping long strikes in range to shoot at a monster. Oops, its wards are gone. It's not a -1 to wards. It's all wards are gone. So if you're fighting against 5-up ward, it's just gone, right? And that's just fantastic. So long strikes are picking up easy kills here against key targets and then still getting translocated away with the Lord Veritant, who is hopefully also reducing priest and wizard casting and chanting rolls, and hopefully also rolling a 3+ when the enemy charges him. So it's a pretty standard Stormcast list, but it's got this extra spice with the regiment. So I guess that's really what we can talk about here. How useful have you found the regiment in Stormcast lists? Because for me, it's like marginal. Like, it's nice, but we already have ward reduction. We already have teleports. For me, it's like putting a hat on a hat. So I'm not a big fan of it. But what do you guys think?
I haven't got to try it yet.
Well,
but... Go ahead.
It is difficult to me to take from the shooting range from the units. KO units that are turning off the ward. So if you are teleporting with the hero and also teleporting to the prosecutors, turning off to the wards on the target from the prosecutors could be really painful for the opponent. So I see a good combo there. Also considering that the Paladors is going to reach something so far away. So I suppose that that we have a good chance if we are focusing our all attacks in the same targets or in the same site. So this is something that I also used to do, and I think could be really good. Probably feels not too necessary because, as you have said, we have a lot of tricks to get the board's presence. And probably we are not feeling that Skyport Profiteers are really necessary, but considering all the rest of the benefits, I see really strong synergy.
The other effect that Grundstock Thunderers have that often gets ignored, like the ward reduction removal, let's say ward removal is really good. But the other thing they do is they reduce control score to 1, which can be sneaky good, right? Like in certain matchups, if you're playing against ogres, for example, you love both of these effects. Being able to strip the wards off when they have the Everwinter turn up, or being able to just reduce a monster to 1 control means they have to kill every single thing that's on the objective in order to take control of it. And sometimes sometimes all you have is Aether Wings on it, and they're like hidden behind another unit. So yeah, they might kill the Liberators at the front of the objective, but they still don't get control of it because there's 1 Aether Wing sitting on it in the back end. So there's a little bit more utility there. The Code Right also still does like mortal wounds to people on objectives. Like it's not just teleporting, it's not just ward reduction. I think it's 340 just seems like a lot for Stormcast to pay for this, you know?
Yeah, I agree on that. But I mean, probably if we are collecting all the benefits that you could have, probably even if it's expensive, could be a good synergy. I mean, fortunately, if they could be reduced 40 points, what is not going to happen, we don't have another. Might probably upgrading the Aether Wings in another kind of unit, but fortunately, we are so elite, so we don't have too much options to target with the points that they will be reduced.
Mm-hmm. This is another list without a wizard. It feels like we're all experimenting wizardless lists these days. It feels like a wizard is no longer something you just start your list with Stormcast, and that used to be the case. But now it's like, if I have the right units and a wizard is useful, why do we think wizards have gone down in stock so much? For me, it's manifestations aren't that good anymore. They tend to be a liability more than anything else. Even though they are free units, it's like if you're summoning them forward ever, people just use them as a charge lane into you. They like springboard off it. So I usually find myself like counter summoning them just to zone people out. I think that's still the best thing manifestations do, is they zone out teleports.
Block charge lanes.
Yeah. Kind of wish they'd go back to not doing that, like not being interactable. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, they seem kind of just like a waste of time anymore, more than anything. Like the only ones that I've seen that are impactful are like the smoking one for Gits to give them the bonuses on their casts and stuff like that. Like the Corn bonus to prayer. The ones that aren't really forward manifestations, not offensive, but just more like their castle buff.
Right.
Or effects. Those are the only ones that I'm seeing actually get play right now that are impactful. The rest of them are, I'm going to throw this, Gravetide out here to try to keep your prosecutors away.
Yeah. I think the Jaws are pretty good when they charge. I love that charge mortal thing that they do, and they hit pretty good. And Forbidden Power Bridge is still good, right? Like being able to teleport, but it's like specific units that you want it on. And like Tempesters, I love Forbidden Power with Tempesters. That's a great combo. Being able to pull them out of combat and still letting them shoot is fantastic. But otherwise, Pendulum, I guess, is really good if you get the right spot for it. Not really loving manifestations otherwise, though.
No, since they got nerfed to everything hitting on 4s or wounding on 4s or one or the other, and all of them are saving on 6s now. Almost all of them are saving on 6s. They don't seem to be very impactful.
No. All right, let's talk about AF1. Luis, this is your list, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so run us through what's in the list, why you picked the units you did. This is another Ionus list that we can talk about here, Tristan.
Mm-hmm.
But Luis, tell us about this list, what you're hoping to do with it, because there's a lot of choices in here I would not have made personally, so I really want to hear your opinion on them.
Yeah, the core the core strategy of this is to have a keyboard presence. I mean, Ionus and Iridan working together is a really powerful combo. I mean, they hit pretty decently, and I am considering that they are really fast priest. So considering that they can reach to the paladors, you won't struggle to be in range, and also working in good synergy with persecutors, and also considering the same target with the Javs and the Tempestors. I mean, we are not an army that could take to the opponent in 1 or 2 rounds, even in 3 or more. The problem is if we are not taking the benefits from the board presence, this is something that it could be painful for us. So considering that, I am assuming that taking all the benefits from the tricky movements with the fast units, you won't have too much problems to score. So this is at least to score and to hit hard in the moment in the moment, or to the unit that you could be struggling with. And I am usually targeting to the biggest threat in the opponent list. So this is something that I like. It's fast, a lot of tricks. You can recover the objectives, and that's it.
What I think what's standing out to me is Ionus here. Do you think you get enough value from Ionus since he has virtually no synergy with the javelins except for translocate, which, you know, Iridan can translocate, especially if there's a beacon nearby. It becomes a guaranteed translocate. And there's only one target for blessed weapons, so if and when the prosecutors die, you don't have a unit to put blessed weapons on anymore. Do you think Ionus does enough for you here in this list?
Yes, because depending on how the game is performing, I can choose to bring back to the half of the units of the prosecutors or the half of units of the javelins. Usually, they are the first units that they are dying. So keeping safe to Ionis is not a priority, but also he can make a good support behind of the Tempestors, just reinforcing the shooting and reducing the numbers in the hordes. So this is something that I like to do, but it's not probably not it's not easily to work with all these units, especially with a powerful shooting, because you need to hide to your units. In some moment, you can pin them and you can attack them again, because the most of the powerful shooting units, they don't have shooting combat. So that's where I decide to attack with these big monsters in order to reduce the numbers on the opponent list.
I think two things this list would really struggle against is mobile shooting, so like another Stormcast army that can bring teleport shooting, reserve shooting, because you don't really have any screens to zone anything out. So whatever they want to shoot, they're going to shoot something good, right? You can't stop them from shooting. All you can do is pick what they shoot, and in this case, everything they shoot is a pretty good target. Like no matter if, like from my perspective, if I came up against this, I'd be like, oh yeah, no matter what I covering fire into. I guess not the prosecutors with a reroll, but like anything I shoot into with long strikes, that's a good pickup for me. Feeling pretty good about that.
Yeah.
And also armies that pin you, or like just really fast, aggressive armies. Like, how do you think you would handle something like 5 feral maw crushes busting down your fence and charging into your land? Do you have enough guns to take them down?
I don't. Yes, they will split their units. Absolutely, they will try to split their units in order to take the board presence and they to score as much as possible. I am usually tactically split my units working in some pairs because Ionus is really working good It's not probably is not a hammer, but considering that could be really close working with Tempestors, is really good because in that moment the rent is not being reduced. Let's say if they are taking all of defense. So I usually try to prevent this, and if I need to create a screen, is something odd what I use to the javelins, because I can retreat in the next turn and I can take it out with Lot Aquilor. Usually the shooting units are going to target to the big monsters. They are not focusing to Aquilor, especially when he is getting the benefit with legendary tenacity. So in that moment, I can retreat, and if I decide to shoot and to charge him, it's good. In the moment that I don't. So this is the kind of the things that I want to do.
I think I see the game plan here.
A lot of damage.
I think I see the game plan here. I like playing very careful with my positioning, and you're playing even more careful with a list like this. You don't have the backups, and I think that's what's throwing me. But I think I see it here. You are deploying super far away from the enemy, like completely out of their threat ranges. You're not taking charges turn 1. But then you still have the option to get into the enemy because you've got the javelins going 20 inches and then charging, and you've got prosecutors with 3d6 charges. Both of these units can get into the enemy while the enemy can't get into you turn 1. So you have the option. And you send one of them forward on turn 1 to maintain board presence, and then you have the second one in the second turn to try to snowball that. My last concern, given that it's a 3-drop list, how do you handle enemy double turns? I think that would be a very big sticking point for me with a list like this.
Yeah, we agree that with this kind of list, you don't have problems to move your units whatever you want. So what I am trying, when I am really conscious that the first one are 2 rounds. The first 2 rounds, I won't score too much. This is something that you need to be aware. You need to work really thinking what are the positions that you need to be, and trying to steal little by little some points from your units. It's really easy to get master debates and restless energy when you are focusing the targets, and when you are seeing to the opponent spreading their units. Well, the idea is that one is to have a really carefully position. Mm-hmm. You will hit to the dangerous units in the army. I usually target to the fast units in their opponents in order to reduce the movement. In that way, I can feel a little bit safe because I can rescue and I can move around my opponent's units.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, no, I see it because I like playing the same way. I like playing very safe, taking away enemy mobility and threat range options, keeping them contained as much as possible. I just find it a lot easier to do that when I have a couple, little extra units like Vigilors or Questers or something like that.
Yeah.
What's the Aquilor doing for you again?
It sounds like he's using the Aquilor for the teleport, which I personally don't get a lot of value from because I always want the javelins charging in, and if they're teleporting out, they're not going to. That 9-inch charge is usually not happening for me.
Right, and it's not like you can really rally them back with only 6 dice.
No, and especially because the rally is before the teleport. So yeah, it's rough.
So that's why I was questioning why we have the Aquilor in here, because you're using it as a teleport, but they can't teleport. If you could teleport him out of combat, I would say absolutely he's an auto-include if you have Paladors. But couldn't you just retreat to the same almost the same effectiveness. With a 14-inch move, the 14-inch retreat should get them far enough away that they're safe, and they could just be repositioning into a charge rather than teleporting somewhere and then being 9 away and not being able to charge, because that's what you really want to be doing with them, isn't it?
Yeah. If I don't erase to the unit that I am targeting with the javelins, I used to take hands once again, retreating and charging again with the javelins, and also getting the support from persecutors. So usually in that way, I can erase to the hardest unit to most of the time. But if I don't have the against OBR, if I don't have the enough power to remove one unit, I use kind of waves in order to get back and to pinning only with the javelins, usually with finest hour, and then buffing to the prosecutors and removing that. So usually that put me in a dangerous position into the coming rounds. So I used to place the Lord in order to go back, probably retreat in the safest place, and to let them to the prosecutors receive the charge. So in that way, I can try to get the most time surviving to the javelins. So there are not too much units that could reach 2 different points. I mean, in the same books. So this is something what I am trying to do. So it's only gaming with the ability of movement of the opponents. This is a kind of surgery tactic in position.
Is this the list you're going to be taking to Worlds?
Oh, I am not playing the Worlds. That's Eduardo.
Oh, sorry, my mistake. I thought you had a golden ticket too. I thought you were both going to Worlds.
No, I was. I unfortunately I didn't reach, but I have 2 GTs in coming months. So I will take this list the most probably for the first one.
Write up some battle reports. I'm going to be very curious to see how you deploy and how you play.
Yeah, I will.
Great. All right, let's move on. So next up is another Karazai list. This is actually it's kind of a double cavalry list because it does have the Karazai and the reinforced javelins. But where it differs from a typical Karazai double cav list is it's got this inclusion of long strike crossbows. The other list we talked about had 2 Knight Judicators, but when you have 6 long strikes and you're recycling them with Beacon of Azir, it becomes a very different feeling list because you're not just playing Karazai as an independent unit. He's kind of like a front line, basically. He's creating this line of scrimmage, and you're putting the long strikes behind him because to get to the long strikes, they have to go through Karazai. And to make that even tougher, we're going to also drop 6 Annihilators in front of Karazai, like directly base to base with Karazai. So any enemy that finishes a charge with Karazai, and we'll try to get strike last with Annihilators. And that's not a fun thing to face down, to have a bunch of Annihilators and Karazai smacking you before you have a chance to attack. And with long strikes picking off targets one at a time, you can reduce the number of enemy units that are coming at you. You can take out, one of the 2 melee hammers that would be threatening him, and then you're very likely to survive that combat. And then playing the rest of the field, you've got Vigilors and Javelins, and a Knight Relictor potentially to recycle all of that. So it feels like a double cav list, but it's more like a recycling list featuring Karazai. And I guess we can have a quick discussion about drops, because I am actually not a fan of 2 drops. I love recycling long strikes, but I hate having only 2 drops. I want to see more of my opponent's deployment. I want to have all that information. I want to have, if not access to the reroll on priority once per game, I want to at least deny my opponent that reroll, because double turns are really the only thing that give me trouble. And when people can reroll it, I don't like the sound of that. So I don't like 2-drops. I like having more, but I don't know how to have 2-drops and reinforced long strikes at the same time.
I will die. I will die playing 2-drops. I love 2-drops too much.
I am a fan of the 2-drop but then again, I'm keeping half of my army in the sky, so, and I'm not usually dropping my reserves turn 1.
Mm-hmm.
I've held them off all the way till turn 3 in multiple games, so it's kind of like getting to see their full deployment and half their game.
But
and half their game.
Sometimes you're in situations where, I'm about to finish deploying, but I haven't seen where my opponent is putting the counter to my unit, right? So let's say you're facing off against Slaves to Darkness, and you want to put down Karazai, but you haven't seen where something, maybe not Slaves to Darkness, but something that could really threaten Karazai, like a Stormcast player. No, not Stormcast, because we can do reserves. Well, something that could kill Karazai.
Be'lakor pointing at Krondys last year at a GT and saying nope really screwed with my day, so that's a good counter to just about anything.
Yeah. Like let's just, maybe not Karazai, maybe your opponent put down a big shooting block of sentinels, and you want to know where you want to put your cavalry unit so you can threaten those sentinels, but also use obscuring in order to not get shot. Right. And you just don't have that information, because as soon as you put them down somewhere, the sentinels go somewhere else. Right? So that's my issue with the 2-drops, is like, when you have all the deployment information, you can make every good decision, and the game just feels like a nice Sunday drive, like you're taking it slow, not taking any risks. You're forced to go first, and you love it because your opponent gets no value from a double turn because you've deployed so well. But it seems like I'm being outvoted. Mergonk, help me out here. More drops is more good, right?
I mean, it depends on playstyle. I feel like there is a lot of power in a 2-drop being able to decide where you want to go, especially if you have a lot of direct application tools. I mean, I know you play really reactively, but I feel like, okay, this is how I feel. There's a lot of matchups Stormcast has where we can't really trade well because we just don't have the number of resources compared to what they have. They just have more units, more disposable things, more things to trade with. In that scenario, a double turn, positioning ourselves early for that with the 2-drop can be really helpful because we can just wipe them. Stormcast double turns can be extremely lethal. And there is merit to that. At the same time, with that control playstyle, I feel like if my opponent always knows they're going to get the next turn and they'll get to double me, that makes gameplay against some lists really, really difficult. Because some of these armies are just like really, really efficient right now. But in general, the way I usually play is, yes, more drops. I don't really care about drops, but I do see the validity of the 2-drop.
It keeps things simpler. If you're not looking, and fatigue is a big deal at GTs, especially when you're playing 5 games in 2 days, like having to put that much thought into every single deployment, you might just get burnt out by the end of day 1, and then day 2 is like a slog, So that's definitely a hidden value of it. It's like less thinking means more strategic thinking, something like that.
Yeah. It's like there's a lot of thinking I need to do when I'm dropping more. Like, where am I going? What am I sacrificing? What do I do with my... Like, having to essentially account for every single turn. What do I do if my opponent gets 2 turns in a row? It can be very exhausting. Again, really limit your options, is what I'm going to say.
So let me ask you this. What's the point in reinforced long strikes? All out attack?
No. Translocate.
Okay.
Yeah. Counter translocate, yeah. Or to be honest.
Because the question is, why run them when for 10 points less you can just run 3 Night Judies?
It is.
And have the same efficiency, just not as portable, but they're still speed 6.
Yep. I like Judicators a lot. I am the Judicator's biggest fan right now. I will die on the hill of Judicators being an A-tier unit. I don't care how much people disagree with me in our chats. Long strikes, though, I can't deny how good strategically they are right now. Being able to teleport or just drop them out of reserve, kill something reliably, like or take a big chunk out of it, like reduce it to half health or less than half health, and like it's just out of the game at that point. And then for free, translocated away, it's like that opens up so many plays that weren't possible before. And like the rest of your army doesn't have to do anything that turn. You can do significant damage to an enemy, you can max score primary, you can keep your whole army away from the enemy, and there's no cost to it in terms of units because you preserve your long strikes for a future turn, and there's nothing your opponent can do to stop it. And then, if you're really keen, you can teleport them behind Karazai in a choke point on terrain where your opponent has to come through Karazai, and you not only have to get free rounds of shooting because they have to kill Karazai, you're also using covering fire, which is really good. Like, reinforced long strikes still have the best covering fire in the game.
I don't know. I really enjoy Hurricane crossbow covering fire. They've done a lot of work for me for half the points.
The issue I have is the 12-inch range. That's my only issue. I can get over the lack of rend on that unit.
Right.
It's always the 12-inch range that really drives me nuts on that unit. Well, this list does have 20 points left over. You could run 2 units of Reinforced Hurricanes if you were so keen. But I like the threat range. I like the consistency and just the utility of reaching out, saying, I'm going to kill that Carnosaur that's sitting behind your Croxagors, and then I'm going to teleport away. That's it. And like the game sometimes is just decided with that play. Like there's
Right.
very little coming back from that at that point.
I think 3 to 6 months ago, adjudicators and stuff, hurricanes even, could have been argued that they were maybe on par, or even like maybe adjudicators better than long strikes because of the targets. But I feel like our targets are switching over to like Uruk, Croak, right, Croxagors, like these terror guys, like these big meaty targets that need to get shot.
Yeah.
That we trade so well into. Like Hellsmiths are pretty much like handicapped to run Uruk in like 90% of lists. If he just dies turn 1, like what does the rest of the list do?
The same thing. They charge you with bull centaurs. That's all that army can do. Yeah, exactly. Like strategically, the army's at a huge disadvantage for sure. But that's kind of true with a lot of lists right now. Like Caradron, you snipe out one of their infantry units and then you recycle away for free, and the Caradron player spends a whole turn just moving up the middle of the board. Like, okay, cool. Like, I'm fine with that. And then you max score as well because you can easily take all the objectives. And then if the enemy gets double turn, they still have to survive covering fire.
Caradron is going body heavy now. Like the lists that I'm seeing are no longer like the 2 groups of Sky Wardens. They're more like 20 of the Harpooners and 10 Salvagers.
Sure.
There are a lot of bodies now.
They're still bringing like rigor packs. And I think just sniping one of those off for free with long strikes is really good.
It's not that easy. That's 20 wounds. I don't think long strikes can do that.
Rigors? No, rigors are 2 health each. That's 12 wounds.
No. I'm talking about those Harpooners and Salvagers.
Yeah.
I mean, the riggers will be in the back. They're sending out like things that can kill Stormcast relatively easily, but are also very wound dense and cheap relatively.
Yeah, either way, picking off a unit for free feels really good. I think long strikes are definitely the play right now. As much as I like adjudicators, it's really hard to argue with how good long strikes feel. Well, with that in mind, let's talk about the Shootcast archetype, which we haven't shown on the channel in quite a while. Shootcast is it's the name. It's on the tin. You're trying to shoot your opponent to death. But the problem with that concept, historically, in every edition of Age of Sigmar, and this still continues to this day, the problem with just shooting your opponent to death is that the shooting phase happens after the movement phase, right? So you can't move onto an objective and then shoot the enemies that are on the objective. You have to move, shoot, then charge the enemy on the objective. So if you want to take land and kill stuff at the same time, you need to be charging. And unfortunately, when you shoot enemies off the board, you're just leaving that land open, and you're giving your opponent a turn to just walk back into that space. So going all in on shooting, like you could run 12 long strikes, 18 long strikes, like that's a legal list. You can do that. There's a reason nobody does it though, and it's because you can't shoot stuff fast enough to take the land that they're standing on. You'll just lose eventually on VPs. So when we talk about Shootcast here, we are talking about bringing as much shooting as possible while still having enough stuff to play the objective game. And units that fit really well into that style are things like Tempestors, who can play as a hybrid melee shooting unit, and Javelins, who can sit back as a shooting unit from 12 inches away, but they're really more of a melee unit. So I've got this first concept here for a Shootcast list that I think could work. Playing Bastion with Reinforced Javelins, Reinforced Long Strikes, Reinforced Tempestors, some Aether Wings for a +1 hit on the covering fire, which is sneaky good. I love having 3s covering fire with crit wounds on Long Strikes. It feels great. And then you've got a Knight Relictor, who's got the Recycling Tech, a Questor Soulsworn pack, and a Vigilor pack. Now, there's some things you can tinker with here. If you feel like you're too light on bodies, you can swap the Questor Soulsworn for some Liberators or Vanquishers, just giving yourself an extra unit on the table. You could also drop Bastion here. I think his pre-game move doesn't get enough value here, only being used on Questor Soulsworn, really. So you could drop him for Tornus, and then you can get the extra points to swap Aether Wings for more Vigilors. And this starts to look more like the 12 Javelins list that we talked about, but you're swapping out Javelins for Tempestors for the extra utility. So I think this works. It's primarily a shooting-focused list. It's not really a Shootcast list, right? It's not like the 9L list that we talked about in 3rd edition that brought a whole bunch of long strikes, but it's more shooting than anyone else is running right now. And I think it works because all of these units are independently good and useful, and the combination of these units is good and useful. Maybe this list pivots out of Tempestors, and maybe it just brings more Knight Judicators, goes up to 5 drops, and just really doubles down on all that shooting. I don't know. Maybe that could actually work. Because Tempestors don't have great synergy with anything in here.
So, in my opinion, probably I'm not the best. Well, I am saying probably the things are a little bit different. But Tempestors, when they are targeted to the target of the Javelins, is really good because Javelins, they don't get any benefit to improve their range. So the only thing that you can do is to prevent that is the target is taking all of defense in order to reduce that range 1 to range 0. So that's the way that I am also working with. And Tempestors are also used as a second wave after Javelins had hit. And Tempestors also charging in the coming stages could be good. So this is something that I have also used and has worked to me good. So also considering that in some moment you will need a fast unit because unfortunately only the Javelins and the Tempestors are the fast unit. And this is something that I will take care. I won't take out the Tempestors because you have a lot of shooting units, and I will place still the Tempestors here. So I love the Tempestors. Maybe this is something that I don't need to say, but Tempestors to me are the A unit to me right now.
I think one of the interesting things about a Shootcast type list, having units like Javelins and Tempestors, I really find that very useful when your opponent brings tons and tons of units. So in matchups like Cruel Boys or Daughters of Cain, where people are bringing, tons of reinforced little units, you've got like 6 targets. Well, you can shoot one and then charge and fight another one. And I feel like that's where Shootcast shines the most. If you're fighting against a single thing and it gets to stack a bunch of buffs, or like you're fighting 3 hammers, I feel like you have to focus fire all 3 of your units in order to kill one of those hammers. And then your opponent can maybe pick up some free trades after that. So I feel like this does better into stuff like Witches and does worse into things like Slaves to Darkness. But Slaves to Darkness hasn't really been a meta-relevant army for a long time, so I'm okay with that.
Are the Tempestors really doing that much work in melee?
They hit approximately like Questor Soulsworn, but with Rend 2. Because the mounts are max 24 on 4s and 2s, which will usually be 3s and 2s because you've got Bastion for all-out attack. And then the Riders are another 8 max on 2s and 3s. So it's comparable to Questor Soulsworn when you factor in Ren 2 versus that. The Tempestors are also denying all out defense before they charge in, which effectively makes them Ren 3 on the mounts, which is very good because the rest of this list in terms of melee is all Ren 1.
You were just saying that the Tempestors don't really have that much synergy with anything other than themselves, really.
Yeah.
So I was just wondering if you had considered maybe the KO ROR, the Skyport Profiteers, because it's almost the exact same points, and it would just be more shooting, an additional anti-ward tech, more teleports, and 3 more units of bodies, and actually more effective health than the 4 Tempestors.
Yeah,
you just lose. You lose your second melee body, aside from Bastian when he wants to get scrappy late game.
Yeah. That's a tough call. I feel like having only one fast unit, that's rough. If javelins are the only unit higher than 5-inch move, that could be a problem.
I like the idea. I mean,
you could cut Tempestors for that
have,
if you wanted to. You don't have to cut javelins.
Yeah.
Oh, no. I mean, yeah, we're talking about cutting Tempestors for the ROR.
I was talking about the Tempestors because the Tempestors are 340 and the Skyport is 330. So it's only a difference. So it's almost perfectly slots in.
Yeah, well, the Knight Relictor swaps to a Veritant and we're there. We don't need his ward reduction anymore.
And then the Ether Wings that 10 points turns the Ether Wings into Liberators.
That might be a downgrade.
That's fair.
Aether, I like the covering fire. I do. Okay, well, that's a concept we're going to be talking about. Hopefully, with some more point cuts in December, we can see what the meta looks like. Maybe Shootcast comes back because I've got a Krondys Shootcast list that I'm just not ready to talk about yet. Feels too all in on the concept, But hey, it could work. Translocate Krondys into range and then just blast. Good work. Had this list in our last video called a Tornus list. And the whole point of the list was just trying to take advantage of the fact that Tornus can combo Ruination and Vanguard units together. And that combination is very interesting because Reclusians love the speed of Javelins, and Javelins love the crit mortals and durability of the Reclusians. Just being this fight first brick, because Javelins, they're 30 health and they're fast, but they don't take hits very well. They're not an anvil by any means. You want them as a speedy hammer unit just flying around. Perfect game for Javelin Paladors is they never get hit. They always charge on every single one of your turns, and they never take retreat damage. That's their perfect day. Reclusians don't have a perfect day. The Reclusian life is you get charged, and hopefully you kill the thing before it kills you. And hopefully you get to even fight, because sometimes people just ignore them. The Reclusians have a lot of strategic disadvantages that Javelins seem to fix. And the person who brings it all together is Tornus, because he can bring both those units, and he has very strong utility for Reclusians. And since we're bringing Tornus, we might as well bring Prosecutors as well. Now we have 2 different units to benefit from Sentinels of the Bleak Citadels. We have 2 different units for Tornus to rally. And then we're also going to bring a Knight Relictor to reduce wards and have the ability to translocate units away and then into a rally and then potentially into a shorter charge, which is always a fun combo. But this list in particular is doubling down on Priest because we're running 2 different infantry units, the Prosecutors and Reclusians. So I thought we could bring another Priest so that we have more recycling options and more just ritual point options. So we can bank ritual points throughout the game and then use bless weapons as appropriate. And because we're not running the Beacon of Azir, I don't feel comfortable running Reinforced Long Strikes here. So we have the double Knight Judicators coming in to add some shooting support. So all in all, this list, I remember seeing in our last video that the Tornus list just didn't feel like it quite got there. It didn't really justify Tornus as anything besides a take-all hero. But I feel like this one actually puts the pieces together really well. And having the extra unit of Vigilors, Knight Judicators, these guys can play the midfield, they can take the charges to protect your other units. I think this is a very good list. And it takes advantage of Tornus, which I like.
I actually really like this one a lot. It's very similar to one I used to run, but that was before Tornus days and when I was running Bastion, but Tornus fills that role a lot better now.
150 points for a take-all is really something else.
The one really nice thing about Bastion was 3 free all-out attacks on javelins per turn.
Yeah, if you manage to keep up with them.
That's where the portal came in.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
There's not much for notes on this one.
No, it's just good. Bring good units. It's a good list, turns out.
Yeah, that's a good one. I like that.
Let's talk about Dracoth Quest Mk.II. Again, in my last video, I had a Dracoth Quest list that used Concussors and Tempestors together, and the point changes have given me enough to slot in a unit of Shield Annihilators. So what these guys are hoping to do is to drop in front of Questor Soulsworn, maybe drop in front of 2 units of Questor Soulsworn, and give the enemy strike last. So when they charge you, they're facing off against a lot of heavy infantry attacks. And all of it's going to be on +1 hit because of Thunderhead Host. So let's just say you have just 6 Annihilators and 6 Questors. That is max 76 damage coming your way. All of it on 2s to hit, 3s to wound. And sometimes you can't even all-out defense against any of it because the Tempestors did a covering fire and shut off your all-out defense. Yeah, it's a fun combo, and having repeatable strike last on Concussors feels really, really good because your opponent has to just put so much stuff into killing them, and sometimes just that they just throw themselves at your body and they crumble and you win the game off that. Really hard to find the right spot to do that in a lot of cases, but oh man, when you pull it off, it feels great. And this list has a lot of downsides, though. It is almost the slowest way to play Stormcast. You'll notice nothing here moves faster than 10 inches. There's no Prosecutors, there's no Javelins, there isn't even Stormstrike Paladors or a Chariot or Dragons or anything. It's all slow, it's all foot-slogging infantry, and the slowest of all of our cavalry. So if you're not comfortable playing the get charged game, this is not the list for you. But if you like having tough dudes, if you like hitting your opponent before they hit you, this is a pretty fun list to play.
Also kind of in a weird place being a 4-drop. I feel like it's either play the 2-drop game or you want to go max drops, right?
Oh, I know. It's such a struggle. I hate 4-drops, man. Sometimes I just want 5 drops because you'll face like a Fire Slayer army and you're like, I don't want you to have the reroll. Neither of us get the reroll. That's just how this goes. But against those armies, at least I can bait them into deploying their whole army, and then when it comes to my general's regiment, I just drop 1 unit at a time. You know, usually when other armies are running 5 drops, they're splitting their units up between the different heroes. It's like they don't pack in on the general's regiment like Stormcast do.
The idea that you had about splitting 6 reinforced unit into 2 simple units of annihilators looks also good.
Yeah, so that works better if you're using the annihilators as a single unit, because you can still drop 2 units of 3 right on top of each other, and then it's functionally a 6 model unit. But when you have the annihilators dropping in front of another unit, you want to make sure it's a reinforced unit of annihilators, because if it's not reinforced, your opponent can find a spot where they can charge an annihilator and not be in range of the other annihilator unit. So you'll only get 3 dice for the strike last instead of 6. So just to ensure that you get all 6 dice, I prefer the reinforced annihilators in this case.
Yeah, me too.
But the annihilator
yes.
drop, this is a concept I've been playing with a lot, and I really like it, and I'm trying to incorporate it into more and more lists. 260 point annihilators and 200 point questers. Man, that is a fun combo. It is just really, really fun.
It is. But yeah, the only thing that I can is not only about this list, is that I really love the to counting with a priest. I don't see right now in need to include wizards. I know that this is not the topic, but right now what I am saying is that we need obviously at least 1 priest. So, but what about to bring in? I know that you love to lure Knight Relictor, but what about to bring into to another priest instead of Relictor? Probably also to Veritant. Probably is not defeat here, but what about to test with another kind of priest? To me, probably taking to
when I have Judicators, they can easily get on a place of power and get an unbind. So I'm not really like, I don't need multiple unbinds for the most part. There's one spell that I might want to try to roll against, and it's not like we have any unbinding bonuses anywhere in the army, so like it's fine, you know, like it's good enough to have just a Judicator sitting on a place of power for an unbind. The ward reduction on the Knight Relictor is just, it's just too good. Frankly, I think it's too powerful. It's too useful. It's really hard to make a list without him. Everything has a ward in the game now, almost. Like the only armies that don't have wards are Stormcast and KO. KO has wards now too. They're running the 6-up ward on the infantry ones. So yeah, they'll have wards. David, do you want to try the exact opposite of your list? That's what this is, man. Like your list is just go into their lines, and this list is no, you come to me. We're fighting over here. I'm not getting up. I'm sitting in my chair.
You know what would be the best FAQ in December? That they just made the Dracoth 6 wounds.
That'd be amazing. Keep the points the same.
Please.
Yeah.
I'll just do points. Yeah. I don't know how much resources they want to pour. I think they'd rather pour more resources into changing seasonal rules than anything. But yeah.
I just want them to publish a reason why Croxigors can be 6 health, but Dracoths can't.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're going to see more of this inconsistency. GW usually develops some very solid design principles year 1 and completely abandons them in year 2.
Yep.
So
that's
we're about to see like some 6 wound cavalry, 7 wound cavalry that basically doesn't adhere to anything that they said they were going to do in their design template when this edition came out.
Stormcast are always the mold setter, and then every other army is the mold breaker. Fortunate.
Like, I think I used to say this all the time. If Stormcast came out later, I guarantee Blessed Weapons be a 4, not a 6.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's not, or a 5. Like I could see a 5. Like I know the Daughters of Cain. There's like a prayer they have that's like goes off on a 5. I could see a 5 because that would mean the Lord Relictor gets to do it on a 4. That would actually make him playable. But yeah, that's weird.
Just kill Ionus. Why do you guys hate Ionus so much?
Just overcosted. I don't hate him. It should be 340, 320.
I like his War Scroll. I think it's good.
No, it's a good War Scroll. I just what Scourge of Eridan is giving him some serious competition is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Or +1 to chant would make him worth the 380. Easy.
Yeah. Like if you look at both the power priests in the game, I know Zenestra's scroll just got nuked from orbit, but like the rerolls to scroll praying there, and then Krathus's like automatic D3 ritual points. I'd like something like that. That would be nice.
Or Vizic just getting to chant in the enemy turn for free every turn.
Oh yeah, without a CP. Yeah, I mean, come on, like make him special. He's the Arch Relictor, boys. Come on.
He has a cell phone that he like with Sigmar on speed dial. He doesn't pray. He just calls him up. You know?
Yeah. He's not praying to anyone. He's literally requesting it on Hotline.
Yeah. All right, David. Tell us about David's Stardrake list.
Hey guys, it's David. It's not really David, but I'll fill in for him.
This is the first list we've talked about tonight with the Sigil, Hour of Glory, and Storm Coven. So and Praetors. We haven't seen any of this today so far. Very similar to a list we talked about last time, the big Stardrake, right? Where you're turning the Stardrake into a centerpiece, you're giving it Praetors for 5-up ward, you're turning off enemy rampages and commands. Like, oh god, the Sigil is so good. I wish we could
also apparently running 4 enhancements.
Yeah, that's a typo.
Brother.
I'll fix that.
Yeah, my only issue with this is like I'm guessing he's using the Stardrake as just this massive anvil that doesn't die because holy god is the Stardrake mid right now. For 480, like have you seen the Abhorrent Ghoul King on Terrorgeist War Scroll?
Yeah.
Or Uruk-Tar for that matter?
Or
like,
Rune Sun on Magmadroth.
Why do we have this? Yeah, or the what is it? The Carnosaur?
New
Old Blood and
Carnosaur,
Carnosaur?
yeah.
Like,
Oh, the ethereal
what are we
connoisseur.
doing? Also, Usharan is 450, I'm pretty sure. Why is this thing 480?
It felt
I
better
don't know.
when we were in a meta where he could get chomp value every single game, you know. But now that we're playing against monsters that the Jaws do literally nothing, and you're paying 480 points to do literally nothing, and you have damage comparable to an unreinforced cavalry unit, it's not
Yep.
great.
And even then, the jaw isn't like super reliable. Like, I don't know. Maybe you guys roll way more fives than I do, but if you're fighting Cav, like you do have to roll 3 5s in order to get that full effect. It's like one of those like really swingy things. Like imagine having a weapon that does d6 attacks at d6 damage. Like sure, you could do 36 damage, but it could also do nothing or like 1. And I hate how you have to be then pointed based on this variance. I hate variance pointing like this.
Okay.
Yeah, those
I
kind of
discord that.
abilities.
All right, David, tell us about David's Stardrake list.
Oh my god. So yeah, I do like the Stardrake for fun. Local pick up some stuff. I do think Karazai is probably a more competitive choice just given the meta, but Stardrake has been a lot of fun and does do a lot of work. I do stick with the same concept that I love: 6 Paladors, 6 Launch Strikes. The fact that the Stardrake is an anything take hero, I think you kind of have to splash in some Vanguard or just something you really wouldn't usually get in another army, only for because he's a take all. You might as well take advantage of it. I wish I had the points for Relictor, but I wanted my wizard and I really wanted my wizard and my priest. I do think the Storm Covenant's overcosted, but for this list in particular, I do like having priest and wizard. Priest for the recycling, and for like the launch strikes and stuff. Or even the Paladors, because usually the Stardrake or Paladors are going to be eating power through. Probably the Stardrake most of the time, because it's an 18 wound monster. So the Veritan at least lets me have a choice of what I want to recycle. It's probably going to be Paladors just because the Praetors are usually sticking with the Stardrake. I do like Coven for potentially strike first, so I'm not banking all the time on the 3+. If I wanted to do Extremist Chamber, but I use Vanguard here, I really like the 3+ long strike teleport. I usually hit it in most of my games. It's really good. But you could use either or. I do like Primal for the heal and Jaws, and it's easy spells that Coven can cast, because Coven, like, most of the time, it's like I barely get my casts off. So I need like a 5 Burning Head and like a 6 Emerald Life Swarm. Like these really simple casts that I know I'll usually hit. Vigilers are Vigilers. I do think the portal is actually super necessary for this list, because you have all these. You have two, 3 units that want the early game teleports. So I really liked it that the points went down enough for me to fit in the portal. Man, if I had 10 more points though, that Veritas would be a Relictor all day.
You could have 70 more points or 90 more points if you went Knight Arcanum, if you just abandoned this obsession with 2-drops that you have.
That is true, yes. I thought about that too. So like Coven could just be Arcanum and then 70, 60 points to upgrade something. But yeah, no, I am. This is like I like playing 2-drops. That's just who I am. I'll live and die by my 2-drops.
Okay, I'm just gonna stop you. You keep saying Coven, and it sounds like COVID, and I think that's gonna get the YouTube channel flagged. I've never heard anyone pronounce this word Storm Coven.
Coven.
You're the only
Coven,
person. Is that like a regional
Coven.
thing?
I probably Storm Coven.
It's not a coven of witches.
I didn't realize this. I know. my brain. You can see where my brain is at.
Got the baby brain.
Like a group of warlocks.
I don't know. I feel like
group of warlocks.
I feel like I've heard that, but like in the Nordic countries, they might pronounce it like that.
Probably, honestly, the smart choice is to break this into 3 drops with Arcanum. I guess what point value would they be really good? I think they need to be 180.
Yeah, 180 sounds right. Especially because you want to bring a spell lore with them, so it's another 20 points on top. They're effectively 230. 230 for a 2-cast wizard is like, what are we doing, guys?
Well, we were really happy, but like I think the concept's there. I like having a wizard, or like let's say this was a group of priests, but they're a wizard, right? I like the concept of having utility that doesn't take a hero spot a lot. I just think they're overcosted.
That utility mattered a lot more last season, for sure.
Can I ask you, are your Praetors keeping up with the Stardrake to keep the buff on them? Or keep the ward on?
Usually, yes. I played Karazai when he was 14-inch move, and I was able to keep Praetors in range with him in 3rd edition. I've gotten really good at keeping a tight movement with the Stardrake. He's just really to explain it, like he's really like on a hard like leash. Like you have to like pre-measure everything where he's going. So he usually floats around.
You can just
like
drop the Praetors too, and then you can, if you know where you're going to be going with Karazai, you can put them in a position where they advance first, and Karazai goes after them.
Yeah, exactly.
Because Karazai has fly.
I didn't have that ability to drop them down and use the Praetor ward, but like now we do, so it's even easier.
Yeah,
right. I was using Krondys, but Krondys usually plays a little bit more conservatively and isn't charging in like you do with Karazai in them. So I didn't know how well they could keep up. Like the portal or deep striking them helps a lot, but if you get in too deep, then you're going to be it's pretty. I could see it being kind of easy to charge in out of their range.
You basically have to.
The other thing you can do. The other thing that I've done, I know with Karazai, is I chart sometimes if I plan ahead, so I always know where the Praetors are going to be post deep strike and then where I'm going to move them alongside Karazai. But let's say that's not possible. My plan is basically I'll get out of their protection range, hit something, power through back to the Praetors.
Mm-hmm.
So, fun facts, doing a little math here. Karazai's base is 6.3 inches. So if you deploy your Praetors outside of 9 inches of an enemy, and Karazai finishes a charge within half an inch of that enemy, his base is big enough so that on the other side of it, the Praetors can be within 3 inches of him. And the Stardrake base is an oval, which is awkward, because sometimes you need to twist the oval the wrong way. But it's even longer than 6.3 inches. It's bigger than that. So easier with the Stardrake in some ways.
Yeah, what I have done, is if the Predators get out of the combat range with the big bases, I used to redeploy with the Predators. So in the opponent's turn. So in that way you are covered, because not in the most of the times when you are charging with the Karazai or with Stardrake, you usually are killing to the unit. So in that way, you are not able to perform power through. So the only resource that I have is to redeploy behind with the Predators.
Yeah, overall though, Stardrake is fun. It's like something I'll just take when I want to just like mess around and I want to play a dragon. I think that's the best part about the Stardrake.
What point value should he be now? Like, what's a fair point value for Stardrake?
Probably 460. I think he needs to be cheaper than Karazai.
Yeah.
Because why wouldn't you just take Karazai every time?
Yeah.
Because then you could upgrade that bear to a Knight Relictor.
Yeah, slightly cheaper than Karazai to account for the enhancements that you can give him. So probably 450, 460, maybe 440 actually. Because I feel like there's a lot of like good hero monsters now, named ones that are like wizards or whatever at like 450. Like Usharan is a great example of this. I think he should be at least below Usharan.
Yeah, that's weird too. That he's more expensive than Usharan. Like Usharan brings Wizard 2 to the board and will hit you with 18 damage.
What's the new one called? The bull guy, Uruk-Tar, whatever.
Uruk will also he'll build up points and then do 40 damage into you.
But he's only 16 health with a 5-up ward and a Wizard 3 with +3 to cast. Not comparable, really. He's much better.
Or GW Kasabian Cowards.
400 points?
400 point Drake Sworn Templars.
I think Stardrake could be 420. I really do.
My bet is 400 because sometimes I have the feeling that most of the rogue heroes right now are wearing an old-fashioned war scroll. They are not so powerful as they used to be in third edition. So some abilities are getting not strong enough, like the new war scrolls and the other monsters in another factions. So my bet could be 400, even if they can wear enhancements. Right now, I don't see to the Stardrake so powerful feeling as they used in tiers.
Yeah, I actually agree, and I'll tell you why. There's another. If we're talking about the first four books and all the terrible monsters they've made, there's another monster competing for sort of like the Stardrake Drakesworn Templar role. It's called the Mob Crusher on. The boss, Mega Boss on Maw Crusher. And I don't know if y'all noticed this. That thing has gotten cheap, literally every single battle scroll, and it's now at 360 points.
Yeah, you can bring 6 now.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, you could bring 6 in a list now. It's crazy. It's like, well, what are we doing with this Stardrake here? He should. I mean, yeah. I was originally going to say 440, but now that I think about where the Maw Crusher is, yeah, this thing should be like 400, 420.
Yep. If Carnosaur, Soggy Magmadroth, Soggy Iridan, Ghoul King on Terrorgeist, of all these monsters are costed fairly, and I think they are, Stardrake is like, you could argue he's 100 points overcosted. Like, it's that crazy.
Yeah, 130 points more than Uruk-Thar is kind of wild.
Yeah. I like how conservative we started our... 460, like a minus 20 drop, and now we're like, yeah, he should be under 400.
It's because you're so used to our heroes.
He's basically performing the Maw Crush on Mega Boss role, basically, more or less. That's what he's doing in this army.
He's got that shooting attack, which I really like. So he's like having a 100-point Knight Judicator in his mouth.
Sure. I mean, I can understand the shooting tax and like the, I guess, insta model kill tax. Like, if you want the Maw Crush at 360 and you point this guy at 400, I think that's fair. But I don't think this would be 100 points over that.
So Tristan, this list you took to 5-0 with a final game against Caradron, and this is before Caradron were nerfed, which is a very impressive result because Caradron were kind of like the army to beat. And this is a, I want to say, somewhat non-conventional list. There's a lot of stuff in here that we would typically use, like the Terminus or Clusians, Questers, Prosecutors, all that stuff is pretty standard for us. But you deviated quite a lot by taking Tornus before he was, the cheapest take-all hero. You went double Prosecutor, which I'm not personally a fan of, but it still keeps getting results. So, yep. And Quester, sorry. And of course, the centerpiece, Ionus, right? We considered Ionus too expensive. I still stand by that, but you managed to use his unique abilities to great effect. So, run us through your list, run us through the choices you made, why you made them, and maybe like a quick talk about your win path.
Well, I started off the year running Bastian Pallador's much more traditional list. I had long strikes before they were 400 points for a reinforced unit, and I've just been making tiny little tweaks to the list here as we go. And in May, after a tournament, I was talking to a buddy of mine, and we were just kind of going over some stuff, and they're like, I'm not scared of your Palladors. They get stuck too easily, and then they're just whittled down and die, and that's 500 points. The Prosecutors are the terrifying thing because they can drop in from anywhere and infinite range, right? So started playing around with some list ideas and decided to try out the double Prosecutors. And I know everybody was talking about Knight Relictor with the beacon, but I have not had any luck with that combo. But having the threat of Bless on the table plus some continuous mortal damage, and that was one of the things I noticed that I was really struggling with, was not having enough mortals. That's where I tapped in the Reclusions early on, was I needed a way of doing some sort of mortals. So Ionus comes along to kind of be a threat for both the translocate for recycling purposes, or to potentially get a Bless off. And when that does work out, and I get all of the things, it's been absolutely glorious. The one in like 12 games that it works.
Well, it is a dice game.
It is a dice game, but he's just kind of tanky, and if you get him out of there, and since he's Ruination now, Tornus, that flat 3, being a super musician, and the bulk of the list all being Ruination, being able to benefit from it, only having 2 units in the whole list that don't benefit from Tornus has caught a lot of people off guard with just how quickly I can recycle any one of the units in my list. I've had my prosecutors down to a single prosecutor, and by the next round had them full unit charging back in. I've had my reclusions go from 1 to 2 guys to another full unit and countercharging. And that's when I realized that Tornus being 170 points at the time was a little bit steep, but I was already wasting 20 points on something else. And I just had to make a small change. And it ended up working out really well. The double prosecutors works really well because with the Heaven Sent, I'm not running 12 prosecutors, I'm running 15. So we do a first turn alpha strike, alpha pin, and then more often than not, they can just sit there and die. If I can get them out or retreat out the next round, if they're still there, great. Then I can recycle and do all that stuff. If I can keep Ionus in a place where he can get them out, but if he feels threatened, then Translocate usually works on him.
Yeah, it's so CP heavy, and that's like my first thought is thinking, oh, okay, so you're translocating into a rally into a countercharge, right? Like that's a good line of play, but it takes all your CP for the round, and it's not guaranteed either because you have the Ionus Cryptborn. He's a good chanter, but he's not a guaranteed chanter like the Beacon. So it's a bit riskier. So how do you manage that level of risk? Because I would like to make plays like that. 3d6 countercharging with prosecutors feels good when you get the right angle and you take minimum damage back. It's the lack of consistency on the translocate that really irks me.
The countercharge works better as a threat.
Okay, it just forces plays.
Right. It forces plays, forces them to stay out of zones. So if you're threatening a countercharge and if you're hanging on to those 2 CP going into their charge phase. If you have your reclusions on one area and your prosecutors threatening another area, it's just like chess where you're just zoning out an area and you're controlling the center, keep them and making them just not fully commit. And that's usually where you can catch them off guard. Because then I can use the CP to do what I need to do for all-out defense and maybe even an all-out attack. And that's kind of, I know we'll touch on this later, but that's kind of why I haven't made any changes to the list post-Battlescroll.
So you're just running like 50 points down?
I'm just running 50 points down. I'm at 1950, so I get an extra CP first turn. So, and I've tried it in half a dozen games, and that extra CP, I've only wasted it 1 game.
Tell me about your tactic choices here. Master the paths, intercept and recover. Master, I think everybody is clear on why we use it. It's very good. But run me through intercept and recover, because I see such huge downsides with that one, and occasionally I'll forget about them. Well, not forget, but more like I won't think about them for a bit, and I'll be like, oh, I'll try intercept this time. And then it's like, oh, I'm about to take a double turn. I'm taking 5 VP penalty right away, and it's going to be usually the 5 easiest VP that I would have gotten from a tactic.
Right.
So run me through your thoughts on that tactic.
I don't go second, so I'm never threatening the double.
Okay, you choose to go first.
I choose to go first because I play more alpha pin than alpha strike. Because 6 prosecutors can hit hard, but they're not the ultimate hammer in our army, right? They're not killing everything. Even with Blast, 25 attacks at 2 damage, rend 1 is not huge. Even on 2s, if you were to all-out attack with Finest Hour. I've had them whiff and not kill anything. What they do well is they are the hardest 12 wounds or 12 health that anybody else is trying to take off the board. On a 2-up, 5-up, for 2 turns, they're just very difficult for most armies to lift. And then, excuse me. So I choose intercept because I have the mobility to chase them down, and most people aren't putting things in their list specifically to counter, so they're not building their list with treasure carriers in mind. So now they're having to choose 3 units on their list that become my prime targets that they have to question whether or not they want to pull them forward. So it's making them try to play it more conservatively. And otherwise they risk me swooping in and getting 10 points right there by killing a hero that happens to also be carrying something. They're carrying the treasure. So if I'm making them keep points back in their backfield, they're not out there scoring points. And ultimately, I don't care if I table them or not. I'm scoring more points than they are, and that's how I win.
I think the specific combination of Master the Paths and Intercept is probably the way to run Intercept, because people do one of two things when picking their treasure carriers. They either put it on their biggest health block reinforced cavalry or infantry unit, which is like, for Stormcast, it's perfect. Like, okay, I'm going to kill that thing anyway. My goal in this game is to kill that thing before it kills me. So perfect. You've incentivized me to do that. And as soon as they learn that, they're like, okay, well, they're going to put it on like a throwaway, useless trash unit that strategically has no value for us. Usually a support hero, because they can't be shot. And as soon as they do that, it's like, oh, well, hold on. Now this one hero, in addition to being if it's in your list, it's got to be an important hero. People aren't bringing heroes for no reason, right? Except Stormcast. We've got Tornus. If he dies, it's like, like, whatever. It's not the end of the world. But yeah, that one hero who is going to be good is now worth 10 VP.
Exactly.
Which is nice. I really like that combo.
And they almost always put it on one support hero and then 2 units. And unless they are Sylvaneth running double Tree Revenants, which is how I built my last Sylvaneth list, specifically to counter Intercept and Recover, because that was the hot one in my meta there for a while. I think everybody finally switched over to Restless, so now I can probably change my list on that a little bit. But yeah, that combo has worked out really well. I have been toying around with the idea of trying Restless. I haven't had much luck with it because we don't take objectives very well. If somebody we don't play the control game. Like GW keeps trying to give us the tools to play the control game, but we don't play a control game.
We don't play it well. The way we control is by killing the enemy. We kill them and take the objective at the same time.
Right. And in this meta right now, with somebody's parking a frigate on an objective, we're not killing that frigate in a round with equal point investment.
Yeah, and if we try to just walk onto it, they'll do stuff like countercharge into us and kill us.
Exactly.
So it can be a struggle to get the last part of Restless Energy for sure.
Oh, even the first part I've struggled with, trying to take something. If they know you're running Restless, they just park all the CP they can on it. They park their castle on there, and you don't ever get to take it.
Well, if you're taking first turn, it creates an interesting scenario for your opponent where if they want to keep up in primary, right? Because you can score more easily, and if they want to keep up, they're incentivized to leave their territory and take one of your objectives, right? So you're forcing a scenario where it's like, well, either you enable my tactic or you stay behind in VP. It's your choice.
Exactly. So that's one of the reasons I've been thinking about switching to Restless. I'm just not changing anything right now before Worlds. So I've got a formula that works. I'm going to keep it.
Okay. Yeah, it feels good to lock in on a list. It feels good to find that list that you're going to play for the season.
Right. And now I've been, like I said before, I've been playing this list since first created this after the tournament in May, and I haven't changed it since. Taken it to 3 GTs, my 4th GT this weekend with it, and I've gone 4-1 in the first 3, 5-0 at Flying Monkey Con, and I'll probably go 3-2 this weekend just because I'm burnt out. But this weekend's more about fun and rooting my son on, so hopefully he can get a ticket.
Right on. Well, good luck to both of you. Hope you have fun with it too.
My only question was how do you decide target priority? Like, this is, you barely have any shooting here, other than from Ionus and the prosecutors, and that's pretty range limited. Like, they can usually redeploy out of it.
Yeah.
So, like, how do you decide in your first couple of turns? Like, I remember you took turn 1 against me pretty aggressively. How do you decide what your target priority is for the turn? If you're taking turn 1 or turn 2, whatever.
Honestly, turn 1, top of 1, my target priority is whatever's hanging. If I can get some prosecutors into something and potentially kill it, then that's usually enough to put the opponent on tilt, enough to kind of run with it and keep them bunched up. Because the list works well against castles because you're pinned, and now you're just sitting on your one objective that's in your area while you deal with 2 up, 5 up prosecutors and try to get them out. And then as soon as you break free of that, then I haven't sent Gardus and the other unit comes in. And now you've got more to deal with, hopefully with a ward.
Mm-hmm.
Which people need to bring more manifestations that don't have a movement so I can give Gardus a charge target.
I mean, honestly, it's not too bad against even ones that do move. At least they can replay those back, so you can have an 8-inch charge with Gardus.
Right, that's kind of what I'm hoping for. But the
yeah.
I mean, and the other thing too is if you give me a terrain target, like Gardus got to charge into this was several months ago before they changed it to where I couldn't park next to it, but he got to charge into the Shrine Luminor, and he just was hiding out in between all the rocks underneath it, just kept bumping his head up into it to give everybody a ward in around their castle, and they couldn't really get to him. It was kind of stupid, but the other thing about this list too is it works against the Alpha Strike armies, like the fast, quick things that want to charge you. Like right now, the Ideneth with all of the Mosar Guard, I charge them first. They don't get their impacts. They don't get their bonuses to charge. It's worked against Iron Jaws with all the pigs. If I've got you locked down and where you're not charging, then I'm nerfing a decent amount of your damage output. 50% or more if they're a charge +1 type unit.
That's why I really like prosecutors. Strategically, even if they did like 0 damage, I would still really like them just because they can be anywhere you need them to be at any time, reliably.
Right. And then by the time they're all dead, then the reclusions have finally joined the battle in round 4.
Finally. One last question. How did you feel about running without a wizard? Because that's something we've been tinkering with lately, and I'm just trying to suss out opinions on that.
I dropped Krondys after Vault Wars last year. A year ago was my first GT, and that was Vault Wars here in Springfield. And I dropped Krondys after that tournament because I went 2-3. I was not having a good time with wizards. I was having a worse time with priests. And then I was running neither for the first half of the year, and I was doing decent. I did 4-1 at a 1 or 2 with a couple of other lists, and mostly abusing Bastion and Hurricane Crossbows. And Paladors and that whole shtick. But then they released the new Sacred Rites where we could chant without having to lose a full D3. If I roll that 1, I'm only losing a single ritual point, which is much nicer. Much less of a gamble, and it fixed priests for me. So oftentimes, I'll say bless. If I get a 6, great, I get to bless my prosecutors. If not, then okay, I take whatever that is, and then I'll Sacred Rites, and then I'm just banked for the next turn.
Get that 2-up translocate.
Yep. Tornus is usually hiding back near a place of power. Not for the obscuring, but literally hiding, because out of sight, out of mind. A lot of players have object permanence issues. And so he's not getting shot at. Ionus gets shot at very frequently, but if I feel like he's being threatened, he's the one that gets the 5-up ward for the turn. And translocating out of range of those guns can help. But the biggest thing is most players KO aside, are only bringing 1, maybe 2 small shooting units, and very few things have ridiculous range like 18-inch KO nonsense, 24-inch KO nonsense. And you can tie those up with prosecutors pretty easily. In my game against Hellsmiths, they have 4 artillery in the back line. I got to play pretty aggressively against him and got my prosecutors back there and spread them out to the max of their 2-inch coherency and tied all 4 artillery up so they couldn't do anything.
Okay.
So just tying up the shooting or making them the target priority.
Even if Ionus goes down, this list can still win games. Like, he's not what's winning the games.
Yeah. He's not. He is a good threat, and he will soak up a lot of wounds. And then if he can translocate out to get near Tornus and then rally back to full, even better. But if he dies, I've had him die, I would say probably a third of my games he dies. And it sucks, but it's not the end of the world. He's not He's a Stormcast hero. They are not what win our games.
Exactly. He's the support unit at the end of the day.
Yeah. Because his damage, it's the heaviest damage. Well, the dragon is the heaviest damage, and so there's been a few games where I'll out attack him because I don't care if he dies, but I want that dragon to hit on 3s for once.
Yeah, imagine if we had companion synergy like other armies.
Right. No, and the coolest thing that he's done in any game was the Cathorak got to kill the Terrorgeist, the Royal Terrorgeist, and while Ionus got to squish Gourmet. They were just right there next to each other, and he got to do both things. So that's the coolest thing he's been able to do.
Right on, man. Well, congrats on the 5-0 and all your recent success with it, and look forward to hearing how you do at your upcoming events and at Worlds, hopefully, if you get to go.
Oh, yeah. We've already got the room booked. We've got everything planned and the time off, so I'll be in Atlanta.
Fantastic. Next up, we have Daniel's list. Now, you submitted a number of lists to this, and it just turned out that some of them were so similar to what we already had that we didn't want to just have the same list basically 3 times. But this one is quite different because you're running the Quicksilver Draft combo on a Lord Celestant along with Reinforced Stormdrakes. And I find that combo very interesting because one of the problems I have with Stormdrakes is that you can't really create a defensive position with them. The whole game is about just keeping all of your units alive, and I like having this anvil concept with concussors. So, tell me about this list. Tell me how it came together.
Yeah, I started this list with Price Beast.
Oh yeah, okay.
It was exactly the same. Not with the Judicators, but the main thing with the Dracoth and the Stormdrake Guard. And it felt good, actually. Now, everybody's in love with the Beacon of Azir with a reason. And because 600 points in Stormdrake Guard are important. Most people think that they need to get it to play them. From my experience, I never played it with Beacon. One game actually, but anyway. So I don't need it personally as when I play it as a playstyle. The list is more oppressive than it looks. It's a zoning list and with a really big no-go zones. And most often than not, opponents feel that they need to crush somewhere. They can hardly crush into the Stormdrake Guard because you can translocate them. Water Victor is there for +1 to cast, not to fail. Sometimes even if you don't have points, the translocate is on a 4-up, which is counter translocate, I mean. So it's really good. And while you play the game with, I'm charging with my Stormdrakes, I'm powering through, I'm getting back, I'm recycled. The other zone is the concussors. And concussors with the obscuring are a lot better. Legendary Tenacity is helping on the Ward Celestial not to die. So the concussor, they're real dead ball. And people don't want to go them, but they are forced. All my games, they were forced to go there. It has enough chat with questers. What I would like to see is some drop-on points to get more Judicators, because I want more suppressing fire or intent for the enemy to go into me. Because if I can shoot them with Judicators and they cannot go into me fast enough, they're just dying.
Yeah, they can't just sit out there and take shots from Judicators the whole game.
No. And the shooting in the list powers a lot. The Stormdrake Guards are good. Their covering fire is good. It's 5-6 wounds. It's really nice. So the damage piles very fast. It looks like a slow list because you cannot go in the face. You cannot charge so much. But it's not exactly true because of the positioning. Most maps, people need to crash into you. And even if they crash with like 1,000 points, lose a lot into the Dracoths, then you're returning to with Heaven Sent. It's not a big loss. They need to kill the dragons, and that's what people tend to do, and that's very hard. Also, another thing is that I don't know how often it will happen, but one questor is going for a 5-ward objective, and the other can go in to try the charges because you don't kind of need them. So you can threaten around home objectives. You can threaten around buildings, faction trains. So. And the questors do a lot of damage. Because in this list, Finest Tower is not good. I mean...
no, it's not. It's really not. It's okay on the Soulsworn, but it's not great.
It's not good. So Soulsworn are getting it. That's what I'm saying. And I want to pivot in the future because I know that probably they'll remove Beacon of Azir. Hopefully not, but probably. But I want to pivot into more Judicators with Liberators or something. But this for now is good enough. People have to try it to see that the opponent has nowhere to go. You're taking points, you're taking objectives and making your points, and they need to lose into you to do theirs. That's the feeling that the opponent gets. I had multiple comments on people, and what do I do now? That's how the feeling gets from the opposite side.
Oh yeah, list. Yeah, I can see it. Like when you're faced up with concussors, your only solution is to shoot them or charge into them with multiple units. But if you position very well, the charging with multiple units isn't always an option. Right, like if you as the Stormcast player are very astute with your positioning, you can pick the right spot where your opponent can only charge you with only one unit, and then you can also kill the other one with the Stormdrakes, for example. But while the concussors are holding 1 point, the questers can hold 2 points, and then the drakes can be positioned in such a way that no matter where your opponent goes, like they have to commit real damage in order to deal with any of those units. Quester Soulsworn are not fragile by any means. Like you need a real hammer to kill Quester Soulsworn. Right? So when that real hammer comes in, the Stormdrake Guard will kill that unit the next turn. So the Stormdrakes are all like questers are effectively always trading up because the threat of the Stormdrakes is there.
Also, this list uses like 4 commands, like counter prey, defense, power through, and counter charge. Counter charge with even concussors, but mainly with Stormblades, is from hell. Stormdrake Guards counter-charging is really, really bad. So you can position them in such a way that if they go for your Dracoths with multiple units, you go in there with the dragons. So it's very harsh. is very harsh. I did it a lot, especially with the 2 rampages that you get the move and the strike first. Really strong. But it's a positioning game. You need to do it well.
So here's my criticism. When I see a list that has 2 Judicators and 2 Questor Soulsworn, my thought is immediately to put in Vigilors. Now, obviously, the Vigilors don't work on Concussor attacks or the Stormdrake attacks. They work on the Riders, but nothing else. Do you think it would be wise to try to squeeze Vigilors in here somehow? I'm not sure how exactly, but do you feel like you miss them? Especially when you face armies that are -1 hit. I find that Stormdrake Guard just hate having -1 hit against them.
Honestly, no. I'm the guy that will tell you Vigilors are S-tiered by always included. That was my thought on them last season. But here with obscuring, sometimes you cannot give that 1 to hit. And kind of honestly, I don't care about Questors and Judicators because it's usually 1 Judicator. It's not 2 that benefit from Vigilors. The points are very, very nasty here. You cannot get points. If you remove, I'm up for removing 1 Questor also, but that's Vigilors and what? I don't want to go to Veritant from War Relictor for 10 points. Here, another thing is Portal is very important. Other lists I can remove Portal, but here no. So basically, I cannot find a way to squeeze points for Vigilors. And if I find points to squeeze for Vigilors, I will squeeze Judicator.
Yeah.
That's my thought process. Because Judicator is more... I need the rank 2 damage. I need to punch them and make them come. Vigilors are helping if I go, kind of. That's my thought process about Vigilors.
They're an offense. They're an offensive unit. Yeah, they're not. Yeah, they're not a positional unit. And this is a positioning list. Well, okay, my other thought, yes. And I already know the answer, but I think it's just good to have it on the podcast. 2 units of Questors and no Thunderhead Host. Well, it's because Lightning Echelon is just so good. You need Lightning Echelon every time you play Stormdrakes. It's just too useful.
Yeah, the moment you pick Drakes, you're invested in them. Everybody else is like, what happens with you guys? Whatever. You're not getting commands, you're not getting support, you're not getting anything. Everything goes to the Drakes. So that's what happens with the Thunderhead Host. Everything goes to the Drakes. And that's it.
Yeah.
Also, the Lightning Echelon here is good with Concussors.
It is, yeah. I like it. It's not something you need to have. Like I'll make a double Dracoth list, Concussors and Tempestors, and I won't use Lightning Echelon. It's not necessary, but it's nice to have.
But here, what can happen, and what happened for me, is like sometimes, because it's a 4-drop list, it can be 5. I cannot go turn 1, but turn 2, I'm breaking the combo with the Concussors and the Celestant, and I'm charging. And if I charge with the Drakes and charge with the Concussors and the War Celestant, what happens is that if I throw the Rampage, the Drake's Rampage, I try the strike first on the Celestant. And then it becomes really harsh for them.
Yeah, it can create big swings for sure.
Yes, because if I get the strike first with the Celestant, I pull the Concussors. I'm piling in with Stormdrake Guards because I'm out of combat with them because I threw the Rampage. And then I'm keeping the Quicksilver Jot for next turn. And that's devastating. That's basically devastating. So that's why Lightning Echelon is here.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Sounds good, man. I like this list. It's not dissimilar from another list that we had in our last video, Drake and Judy. So I'm very familiar with this style. It's just interesting. The slight variations can create such a very different feeling list.
I want people to have it's really a mental game that's playing here. People don't know where to go. It's quite different. If you want to be more oppressive than that, you change 1 Judicator for Night Arcanum and start spawning endless spells. Pendulum on top of all that shit can be very bad.
Oh yeah.
For the
Yeah,
opponent.
well, I have
Because
to.
if you put a zoning pendulum around somewhere and then they don't vanish, they cannot go to that zone, they have really nowhere to go.
Yeah, I got to do a video about the pendulum. I've been talking about it for a while. I really need to make that quick tips video. All right, moving on. This is the Bastian Shuffle, and I have been doing the Bastian Shuffle for a few weeks now, and I really, 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 really like this list. If I was attending GTs right now, I would be playing this list because it feels amazing. It perfectly fits my style of sitting the hell away from my opponent, staying really far back, and then reacting to what they do with pinpoint strikes. And let me tell you about it. It's in the unique section and not in the recycling section, even though it does have the Beacon of Azir to recycle reinforced long strikes. The reason it's in uniques, because it's actually taking advantage of Bastion's deployment phase movement ability, which for over a year now in this edition, I haven't been able to make it feel good. But the right combination of battle plans is present, and the right combination of units are present to make it feel good. I'm going to quickly go over what's in the list, and then I'll tell you guys about all the tech. So Bastion's in here. He's got reinforced long strikes, reinforced tempesters, reinforced prosecutors. Those 3 units are what's going to be winning the game for me, hopefully. Then I've got a Knight Relictor who's got the recycling tech, as well as a pack of Questers, a pack of Annihilators, and a pack of Vigilors. Now, I've talked about the Annihilator Quester combo before, but it is super fun to drop Annihilators wherever your Questers are, and then when the enemy charges into you, you smack them for max 76 on 2s and 3s rend 1. Because there's 3 different Thunderhead Host activators in this list, so very likely at least one of them will be near that block. The other thing this list is doing is recycling long strikes, which we've been talking about throughout this whole episode. I think that is the way to play Stormcast right now. Recycling long strikes just opens up so many plays. Typically, how I will deploy this list is I'll put Bastion, Relictor, Questers, and Prosecutors on the table, and the other 4 units in reserve. So I've got 4 in and 4 off. And Bastion's move can move all 4 of those units. So if I know my opponent's deployment, like if they are 1 or 2 drops and they went first, great, I can have a better deployment. But if I'm dropping first and I don't see the rest of my opponent's deployment, well, I can fix that problem with Bastion's move. So I'll do things like put Prosecutors right in the middle of my board, right up on the deployment line. And my opponent will often respond by putting a hammer unit across from them and thinking, oh, well, he has, he wants to fish for the double. So I'm going to put this unit here and he makes me go first. I get to charge the Prosecutors and kill them. But Bastion flips the script there and says, nope, Prosecutors are moving 12 inches away. You're not charging them turn 1. I'm making you go first. I know where your best unit is, and I've protected my unit, all with 1 ability. Another really good use of that deployment phase move is having your Quester Soulsworn move on to a quest marked objective, because there's a lot of battle plans in this season where the quest marked objectives are just 2 inches out from our deployment, and being able to just move your Questers 2 inches up, take control of the objective, and then if you go first, you can just move away, play safe. You've got your max of VPs and you've risked nothing. And if you're not going first, your opponent, in order to score more objectives, has to come and contest the one usually that the Questers are sitting on. And with +3 control and a 5-up board, that's not so easy. You have to commit a lot to that. And most people aren't ready to commit that level of damage to where the Questers are standing. So it's a very multifaceted list, taking advantage of Bastion's unique abilities. Typically how it plays is it will take very slow turns. It'll wait to see where the opponent has committed their resources. It's going to pick up free trades where it can with long strikes, Tempesters and Prosecutors firing together on the same targets. It's got that brick of Questers and Annihilators dropping in and threatening strike last. It's just got a little bit of everything. It's my favorite list to play right now. I've tried a bunch of different tactics out. I figured with Tempesters and Long Strikes and Prosecutors, I might be able to do Intercept and Recover, but I found it just too constricting for when I want to take double turns. I'm not playing with Intercept, reducing my potential max VPs like that. It's something I might revisit later, though, but I'm stuck on Master and Restless for now. Yep, that's it. That's my spiel. I love this list. This is what I would be playing at GTs. And I highly recommend, if you guys like playing the way I do, you guys play this list too. It feels great.
Okay. I mean, at this moment, Master Paths and Restless Energy, I think, is the best that we could have army. We don't have the high numbers to probably to try with scouting force. It could be dangerous because also we put a lot of risky conditions if we are getting that spot. Right now with Lord Commander and also with prosecutors and questers, looks a mix that I would love to test. I don't know how I could mix my style of the game with this list, but I will try it and let you know how I am performing with this list.
I think you'll like it. Based on what we talked about with your list earlier, the AF1 list, it's a very much a zoning, playing it safe and then taking the right attack at the right time kind of thing. You do have to know how to deploy the Annihilators to get value, and that's very complicated. It's not an obvious thing, but it's basically doing what I did with my 5-0 Dracoline list. It's kind of just dropping them in the right spots at the right time.
Yeah, looks tempting, this list.
Yeah, I've played
Maybe
it.
I could take it for my GD in December.
Try it, man. It's a lot of fun. I've played, I would say, 4 really competitive games, like stress testing it. One of them was against like Flesh Eater Court's Monster Mash, and I tabled him during his second turn. He just threw himself at me and died. It was awesome. Had another game against Seraphon where he hid his units in obscuring terrain, and I was still able to table him on turn 3 because just like the strike last, killing 4 of his Agrodons when they charged me, and then being able to snipe off the Carnosaur for free with no downside. It's awesome. Feels really good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I like that.
Daniel, you mentioned you played a game with the Bastian Shuffle. What did you think about this list?
It's not exactly my playstyle, so I was very interested to test it and see how it goes. And it's a very dynamic list. What I mean is that you can be where you want, you can shoot what you want, you have the zoning, you have the Annihilators that can give strike fast. They're good combo with Questors, with the Thunderhead host with Raptors and Tempestors and Persecutors is really good. So you get buffs all over the place. And it's overall quality stuff. That's my feeling. When you go with it, you have what you want, where you want it, and you're protected. Because most of the list I played till now, except one type of list, I don't feel protected that much. Here because, for example, I played with the new Flesh Eaters, the ghouls that are doing 12 dices on 3+ mortals with cavalry, and then are rent 3, and they wipe a unit of whatever of Paladors that we discussed instantly, and you cannot deny it. It's super hard to deny it. So this is not happening here. All the things that are shooting in your, it's very protected list. I like it a lot, and the buffs are good because we as an army suffer from the buffs. So the +1 to hit all over the place, especially with cover, and monsters abuse cover now quite often. So that's what I think. You can push wherever you want in a good way, in a safe way. That's important.
It's really my kind of list. I like playing very defensive in the sense that I don't let my opponent charge me unless I'm ready to let them charge me. Like, it's pretty rare that unless you're facing something like double Vanguard Palador, most lists just can't charge you right on turn 1 because you can play so far back, and then you could just drop in wherever you need to be with the rest of your units. And I like doing that. I like that kind of positional gameplay. I like creating defensive walls. Annihilator Quester block is so good. Everybody listening, you got to try this. Dropping your Annihilators in front of your Questers and just having this 460 point unit effectively, which does max 76 damage. Yeah, max 76. on 2s to hit because you'll have Thunderhead Host activated, and all of it on Rend 1. And if you manage to get a covering fire with the Tempestors, they can't all out defense against any of it. Which, yeah, it's a fun list, but it's not recommended for everyone. Like, this is not how most Age of Sigmar armies play. This is a very positional, like, counter-based kind of list. You're trying to you need to know exactly what your opponent is capable of doing, like know their limitations and play around them.
The good thing here is that you can shoot with Raptors quite safe and kind of exactly where you want. Because Raptors shine if you shoot 2-3 turns with them. And people try to get them. People really try to get them.
They do.
So here they're quite protected, and it feels safe for them to shoot. The same is, as we discussed earlier with Karazai, he's a great protector for them also. The stuff that can protect Raptors are really good. And I think Tempestors shine here also. The minus defense, they can go with Prosecutors in one place. So Prosecutors suffer from Rend 1. So it can be really good. That can be really good. So Tempestors can shine multiple places here.
I would say the main weakness of this list is just not really having that many disposable units. The Questers and Annihilators feel disposable because they're so cheap, but they are still a primary damage source in this list. The way this list does damage isn't with a single unit going in and just killing something. It's not like a Karazai who can just, kill 7 Cavaliers or whatever. This list relies on the different units working together. Like the Long Strikes want to covering fire, and then the Annihilators want to give Strike Glass, and then the Questers and Annihilators want to hit something, and then on your turn you want to combo, Vigilors and Prosecutors, or you want Bastion and Tempestors shooting the same target. It is about overlapping fire. Like each unit needs to work together. And if you start getting disrupted, if you start getting charged early, if you're losing units early on for no reason, then you just won't have the damage later on.
No, 7-8 unit lists are hard on that. But on the other hand, everything is heaven sentable. I mean, everything is good. 3 Raptors are good, 2 Tempestors are good, 3 Prosecutors are good, 3 Questors are good. Everything that dies on the good note is fine to be returned. It's not important what you return really. That's also a good thing.
Yeah, that way you're not constrained thinking, oh, I need to hold on to Heaven Sent so that I can resurrect 3 Paladors later. You're not ever stuck in that trap. You can Heaven Sent when it's appropriate, use it for tempo or use it for advantage in positioning. Like Heaven Sent becomes a much more versatile tool when you're not forced to use it on a unit like Paladors in your list. Yeah.
I'm playing lists usually that are more constrained, and here I like it. Here I'm not hesitating and returning immediately what I need.
Our last list, so we can finish off after this. So we have been trying to play not just competitive lists around here on the Stormkeep, we're trying to play fun lists as well. It's tough to make fun lists in 4th edition. This edition is not geared to making fun lists because the kind of synergies that make weaker units more valuable, but ultimately aren't like the best thing, those don't really exist to the same degree. You don't have things like the Thunderquake Star Host or like Vanguard Chamber bonuses. Like we bring units because they're efficient and they're good. So we're trying to have more fun stuff on the channel as well. And to do that, we've kind of started experimenting with the Armies of Renown. And one of the ones that's piqued our interest ever since the point drop to Annihilators with Meteoric Grandhammers and Ionus is the Ruination Brotherhood. Because being able to run and charge with Grandhammers, that means they have a 10-inch move followed by a charge instead of, hoping for 9-inch charges. That seems interesting, especially because you can still bring Wizards by bringing a Storm Coven, so you could still have Strike First on the Grandhammers in case they fail. They don't get the 8-inch charge in order to give an enemy Strike Last. You can have Grandhammers charge in with Reclusians and Prosecutors at the same time, and with Strike First, 2 of those units get to fight it. It seems like there's some interesting stuff here. Luis, you put this list together, right? So tell us about it.
Yeah, it's a reactive list. It's more to be aware where the game of your opponents is going in order to react according to the movement. Also, you have a good range, threatening range with the ramp hammers, as you have said, and also with the possibility to assign the strike blast with the Storm Coven to the biggest threatening unit in your opponents. Also, you have the chance to run to the persecutors if it is better to support to the annihilators if they are getting stuck, because after they erase in the first touch to the unit, you will need also to get support in order to rescue them. So therefore, you can run 20 inches with the prosecutors and also rescuing to the other units. Besides Ionus, and Iridan, they offer a good speed in order to support to reach to the targets. And even if Iridan is doing something really really good, that is to deny non-core rules, non-core abilities with a reroll included, so you can absorb the covering fire with her. So this is something that I used to do with, or I am doing right now with Iridan, or even trying to get with the reclusions, absorbing that covering fire, or another kind of abilities like rampages, and that's all. That's it. It's a casual list, just to enjoy something different, because we don't have too much synergies outside of our main abilities. So this is something what you can take hand in order to play something different and something fun. It's not meta. That's true. But it's something that could make it to enjoy, to have the annihilators feeling they can reach a target. So this is the intention of this list.
Yeah.
Just getting fun.
Is Ionus here just to try to fish for the run-in charge prayer on an 8? Is that the only reason we're using Ionus here?
No, Ionus is because you will need in some cases to move around your opponent's list, so you can have more board presence. Because the only problem with Ruination Brotherhood is that you don't have science. So that is something is unfair, but in that way you can cover the board presence, because we don't have access to another war tools that will cover that role in the game. But also supporting with the shooting. I mean, for if you are facing 4 units, yeah,
the murderous flock prayer is decent. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But one idea I thought about with this army of renown, we haven't really made a liberator spam list yet that we're comfortable sharing. But one of the ways I thought about doing it was in Ruination Brotherhood, because they get a 6-up ward, and I think the only thing more annoying than fighting 140 health of liberators is to give them a 6-up ward. And how much do we really need scions for liberator spam? Wouldn't we just like run the units forward and then have I don't know. I don't think we need it. I think we can just run forward and have a ward and be annoying.
Yeah, especially with the annihilators with shields. If you have, or if you take out some of these units and you are reinforcing the annihilators, feels really good that they could have the 2 safe and also the ward, 6 of ward. It's good.
Yeah, it's fine. Like I kind of wish every army was at this power level. The AORs feel like, okay, this is a bit of a tangent here, but hear me out. The AORs are all fluff and no crunch. Like there's very little power baked into them, but they all have way fluffier rules than your normal army rules. Like Fire Slayers are mega strong right now, but their Army of Renown is about turning the Magmadroths into sky vessels and having the Flameseekers hitch a ride on them. And that's just awesome, right? Like that's such a cool idea. And it's way more cool than regular Fire Slayers. But it's also way weaker. But what if every army sucked? You know? Like what if every army was weak but really fluffy? Wouldn't that be fun?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't want. Well, 40k is plenty of players that they want to be the meta. They are meta chasers, and one of the good things playing AOS is the most of the people is only playing because they want be casual and fun. So this is something that I don't want to lose. And I usually play this kind of list when I face to rookie players, just to show them that the intention is only to get fun.
There should be a tournament format where you have to play an Army of Renown. That should be common. Let's make that a thing.
Yep.
I'm going to pitch it to my local group. I think actually it already got pitched, and there was actually some people interested in it.
Hell yeah, let's do it. I think that can fix this edition. You know, it's save it from its own problems.
Oh yeah.
Thanks a lot for coming, Tristan. It was great to have your insights on the episode. We'd love to have you back anytime you want to come back.
Sure.
Yeah, thanks for coming,
Sure.
buddy.
Be back. Thank you.
And good luck on World Wars. Hope you get another 5-0. I'm rooting for you.
Oh, well, I appreciate that. Be nice to get the golden ticket for next year out of the way.
What happens if you face your son in the finals and beat him? Do you get 2 golden tickets? Do you have to give one to him, or just have both?
Well, I can't give it to. I can't say that I give it to him, but it just trickles down.
Okay.
So whoever's next that doesn't get it, but that's kind of what we're hoping for. But the cutoff for golden tickets was the 14th. So this is.
Oh, so it's for next year. Interesting.
So this will be a ticket for next year.
Oh, that's good.
At least that's
get it out of the way. Get it out of the way. No pressure.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. If one of us can get it, then we can just slack off all year and buckle down next September.
Hell yeah! Just play fun lists all year.
Yeah.
Play Armies of Renown all year.
I know. I'd bring out the Stormkeep Guard one.
I can bring up my Khorne AOR that.
They nuked into orbit. Yeah.
Yeah. Now that it's fun and fluffy, I want to play it.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us on the podcast, and see you soon.